Middle-class kids into putty-like zombies.
The jury could only come to one verdict, guilty.
To explain Manson, it could not be done in words.
The most famous murder in the history of Los Angeles.
Sharon Tate was a young actress, stunning even by movie star standards.
Sharon Tate. She's today's kind of girl.
3 friends were staying with her that night. The windows were open. A cool breeze was blowing.
It's simply going to be a quiet, comfortable night. And of course, it turned out not to be.
Charles Manson was a rock star wannabe and a madman.
He could literally get his followers to kill for him.
Everyone wondered, how did he turn these all-American women into monsters?
I knew that people would die. I knew that there would be killing.
He controlled them, and they did what he wanted.
They were so young.
And what he wanted was murder. Brutal murder.
If it don't get done, then I'll move on it. And that's the last thing in the world you want me to do.
You're about to see what evil looks like in the face of Charles Manson.
Yeah, we're ready.
Well, I'm a sound man, I'm a sound recordist, and I was working production for ABC News, and we were headed off for Corcoran Prison to interview this man. The plan was we'd set up the room, and the very last thing to do would be to send me out into the hallway to put a microphone on Charles Manson.
Come on, Charles. Come on, Charles. You're set. All right.
All right, easy.
You're gonna call us when we're done. We'll come and get you.
And as I'm putting the microphone on, he looks me in the eye and he says, "Where are you from, boy?"
That's something to do with you, right?
And the hair on the back of my neck stood up. And I said, I'm from Los Angeles, sir. And he said, Los Angeles. And I've been waiting a long time for a bus to come pick me up and take me on back.
Hello.
There was tension in the room.
Can you see yourself in there?
I can see myself in there. They don't have mirrors where I'm at.
Oh, really? So you never see yourself?
Well, yeah, they got little funny little things. You get a close look a little bit there. Beard's getting long. How you doing?
His hands were handcuffed together, chained together, and then they were chained to his waist.
Here's the key thing to remember. This figure who walks into the room to talk to Diane Sawyer, who looks like he's been worn out and hung up wet for so long. Do not confuse that guy with the Manson of the late 60s. Footage of him from that era tells a very different story. He is commanding.
If I were interviewing Charlie Manson today, one of the questions I would have for Charlie, because I'm fascinated how he ended up like he did, was start at the beginning, Charlie. Tell me what happened as a kid.
Welcome 1934.
Roosevelt was 9 months into his presidency. Unemployment was still high, depression still deep, but a newsreel of the time reflected...
Charles Manson was born on November 11th, 1934. He just turned 82 on his last birthday.
His mother, Kathleen, gave birth to him when she was 15. His father was a man who left soon afterward.
I am a street child. I'm a runaway little girl at 15 years old out of Kentucky named Kathleen Maddox. And she went to Cincinnati, had a guy named Charlie Manson.
When he's 4 and a half, his mother and his uncle are sent to prison for a botched attempt at armed robbery.
And she went to prison, and I used to visit her in the prison visiting room. The only thing my mother taught me was that everything she said was a lie. And I learned never to believe anyone about anything.
There's a boy in class Charlie doesn't like. And at recess, a bunch of the girls jump this boy and beat him up. The principal steps in. And the girls say, well, Charlie told us to do it. Manson's defense, 6 years old. It wasn't me. They were doing what they wanted to do. You can't blame me for what other people do.
Incidents that took place
basically had nothing to do with me personally.
By the time he's 13, he's involved in auto theft and armed robbery, and the judge sends Charlie to Boys Town.
Well, Boys Town is real.
It ran in the Indianapolis Star. The idea that, you know, we have young people who get in trouble, but we have kind judges who will send them to places where they can learn to become productive members of society. Charlie lasted 4 days, and he and somebody stole a car and set out, and they got all the way to Utah before they were captured. Charlie was a con artist even as a child.
1944, I went to juvenile hall. I didn't get out till 1954. I turned 21 years old in the LA County Jail. I wasn't out but a hot second. I've been in jail all my life.
But while he's in prison, he hears the Beatles. And the Beatles, you have to remember, 1964, late 64, 65, suddenly they are everywhere. They are permeating our culture.
3,000 screaming teenagers are at New York's Kennedy Airport to greet, you guessed it, the Beatles.
And they come to represent to Charlie Manson what he wants most: fame, power, women throwing themselves, all the money you could imagine.
Hey, Beatles! Would you line up this way?
Maybe because he knew what was going on out there, he picked up a little guitar and he started to play and to write some of his own songs in prison.
There's certainly evidence that he picked up quite a few skills, you might say, in prison.
He learned from the pimps. He learned from Dale Carnegie classes.
Remember, if you want to be liked instantly, do as the puppy does. Become genuinely interested in other people and show it.
He learned from the Scientologists.
Scientology means knowledge or truth, study of.
Manson used his time in prison to prepare himself to thrive as a criminal after his release.
See, I never realized that people outside are much different than the people inside. People inside, if you lie, you get punched. And when I got out, all your children would come to me because they never had anybody to tell them the truth.
At the last minute, when Manson learns he's going to be paroled, he actually tells the authorities, "Don't let me go. I don't think I can handle it out there." But it's too late. Prisons are overcrowded, and so they send him out anyway. But that one moment, he's being honest. If you let me out, I think I'm going to do the same things that I've been doing or even more.
The city of Los Angeles has had another multiple
Shot
murder.
and stabbed to death.
Another bizarre murder.
8 murders
Their
without
back
reason.
brutally cut by a whip.
Charles Manson, the cult leader accused of murder.
Wish they'd listen to him.
The Summer of Love. You didn't have to be a weatherman to know which way the wind was blowing when an estimated 10,000 hippies and hangers-on showed up for the concert in the Panhandle section of Golden Gate Park.
To understand how Manson did what he did, we have to understand the context of the time and place.
Demonstrators took to the streets.
A time in American history.
And so just as Manson is released from prison in California, the movement is like a magnet for all these people whose particular characteristics make them highly vulnerable to the thing that Manson has, the ability to manipulate.
People tend to think that only oddballs ended up following Manson, and that's not true. Leslie Van Houten's a great example.
And so she got wrapped up into that. And evidently this whole situation was love to begin with, but it didn't end up that way.
You know,
Diane Sawyer talks to Manson's ex-followers.
He was the...
And in these extraordinary interviews, they attempt to describe how their middle-class personalities were overtaken by Manson's charisma.
Leslie in high school, very bright. She's gorgeous. All the boys love her. She plays baritone sax in the marching band, for gosh sakes.
Leslie Van Houten is an example of how people can be very normal, but all of us have vulnerabilities, and Manson could smell it.
I seem to want more living out of life than what was expected of young girls at that time. Drugs, sex, you know, breaking away from the norm.
People were saying, wow, can I join you?
The posse gets bigger and bigger, and eventually they all pile in that bus and they drive down to Los Angeles from San Francisco, where they settle at Spahn Ranch.
The Spahn Movie Ranch, which is in the northwest part of LA.
All the cowboy shows from the 50s and early 60s were shot there. The saloon, the hotel, the dusty Main Street.
Manson and his family just moved in there, and that became their base of operation.
For Manson, like any demagogue, if you're trying to take followers and make them buy into your reality as opposed to anybody else's, you want to get them isolated. You want to get them away from outside influence.
I was cutting off my past, and in my own brain it was like, I can't go back.
You could absolutely not talk about your past at all.
And one thing we didn't have is watches. The whole idea was to let time disappear. There was no time.
We gave up our birthdays.
Squeaky Fromm was another young girl with parental issues. Charlie found her weeping on a bench outside Venice, California one day, introduced himself as the man who's called the gardener because he tends to all the little flowers at Haight-Ashbury, and that she should come with him, and she did.
And I kept thinking, this is fate, because he's exactly what I was looking for.
And love is infinitely strong and infinitely mad. It's erratic and crazy.
People have described her to me as, among all Charlie's followers, the greatest true believer.
She's a little more of a performer maybe than the other people in the family.
You have to make love with it.
She's very verbal. She has a certain childlike quality that kind of endears you to her until you listen to what's coming out of her mouth.
So that you could pick it up any second and shoot.
People who met him wanted to be like him. Men, especially, wanted to have that kind of charisma. So they would do the things that he did, but they didn't do them with the same spirit.
Drugs were always an important part of Charlie's appeal. In those days, the enlightened culture was using drugs. You honestly believe that smoking marijuana, taking LSD, would open up your consciousness.
I was smoking a lot of marijuana hash, and I had, at that time, I've already used acid a couple times, but at that time drinking and using drugs did not seem unusual because I was doing it with my high school friends.
Charlie would use LSD for his special ceremonies on a daily basis where he would preach to people towards the end of the day.
Well, we took hundreds of trips together.
He would personally put the dosages in his followers' mouths. But when he took some himself, he was careful to take less so he'd stay in control. Sometimes he'd claim he was Jesus Christ, come again. He even would take up positions as though he was being crucified.
Sometimes he would reenact the crucifixion when we were on LSD. And it was very realistic. And then make the connections of man, son, son of man, you know. And then the questions would begin. Would you die for me?
And in their drug-induced situation, they listened. So he used LSD as a form of mind control.
I mean, he was an excellent pimp.
Manson deliberately sent out the women in the family to go around and troll for famous musicians. They were the bait. That's how Charlie meant to use them.
He thinks he's going to be a singer-songwriter like Bob Dylan or like Neil Young. And what he finds is something very different and something that fuels his anger towards society. The late 60s in Los Angeles, especially in places like Laurel Canyon, is an incredibly exciting time musically.
Don't it always seem to go?
You have Joni Mitchell up there doing Ladies of the Canyon in 1969. You have The Doors.
I've been to Hollywood.
Neil Young's here. You've got Jackson Browne is here. Glenn Frey.
Genuinely really talented people who will make music that we'll listen to for the next 50 years.
If you wanted to be a rock and roll star, you had to come to Los Angeles. Manson's goal in life, his obsession, was to become a bigger rock star than the Beatles.
That's why he comes to Los Angeles. At this particular moment in the entertainment community, you had an open door policy. Musicians, their addresses were really well known around those times. People would come down from their bedrooms and there'd be 3 or 4 people waiting to get a recording deal. And you weren't supposed to call the cops.
He was convinced he would acquire a patron among all the rock stars who lived in LA.
So Manson would send some of the women out to places where famous musicians lived to try and make some sort of connection.
And one day, 2 of the women in the family, Patricia Krenwinkel and a woman called Yeller, are hitchhiking.
Late that night, and Manson has moved into his mansion, along with several other family members.
He came home one night, and he told me that Charlie and the girls were kind of invited themselves over and stayed for a while.
One of the Manson girls talks about being at Dennis Wilson's house, walking around with the family members around Dennis Wilson's pool on a beautiful Southern California afternoon. The girls are topless, joints are being passed. It just sounded so blissful, and that was the 60s.
Always party time.
Dennis really liked women. Dennis appears to have liked women pretty much indiscriminately.
You know, initially for Dennis Wilson, it was great. It was girls, drugs, and Manson could supply both.
We were invited by Dennis to come to dinner to meet Charlie and the family. There were in a group sex kind of situation, and it wasn't my cup of tea, so I excused myself to take a shower. No sooner than I got in the shower, door opened, and Charlie Manson stood there and looked up at me and said, "You can't do that." I said, "Excuse me?" "You can't leave the group." And he looked at me with these wide eyes and kind of maniacal look. "One of your group members is involved with something so weird." It was kind of frightening and freaky to me.
Dennis Wilson loved having the Manson family with him for a while. He thought Manson was a great intellect. He nicknamed him the Wizard.
He was definitely under Charlie's influence at that point in time.
Because Charlie could talk such metaphysical mush, Dale Carnegie, the Bible, and homing in on Dennis's insecurities about his own talent. Dennis was intimidated by the other Beach Boys. He's low man on the totem pole in the group. Charlie builds him up. "You're great, your music is exceptional." And little did Dennis know that once Charlie got his hooks into you, he didn't let go. He was the perfect target.
He paid for a lot of things, like food and transportation and medication.
The months that the Manson family stayed with him cost him then over $100,000.
And living with Dennis Wilson had other benefits because Manson got to meet other people in the music business, rock stars.
Oddly enough, the one he seemed to impress most was Neil Young.
I knew Charlie Manson.
Neil Young talked about his encounter with Manson in a BBC documentary.
He wasn't what you call a songwriter. He was like a song spewer.
It is astonishing to think that Neil Young took an interest in the music of Charles Manson.
Yeah, he's good. It's just a little out of control.
For a few months, Dennis Wilson thought Charles Manson was a music genius. He wrote a song called "Cease to Exist."
Dennis Wilson brought that song, "Cease to Exist," to the Beach Boys, only he renamed it, gave it some new lyrics.
It was called "Never Learn Not to Love." And we actually recorded that song. I wasn't told about the origins of the song. As far as I knew, Dennis had written
"Never Learned Not to Love," the Beach Boys.
I remembered Mike Douglas, and I remember doing a show.
I'm your kind, and I
The squeaky clean Beach Boys are singing a song written by Charles Manson on a Mike Douglas show.
I could never learn not to love you.
in light of what happened, boggles the mind. And when it appears on the album, it's credited only to Dennis Wilson.
Manson was furious when he found out that Dennis Wilson had not only changed the lyrics, but had listed himself as the sole composer. When Manson goes looking for Wilson afterwards, and at one point leaves a bullet and tells Wilson that I know where you live, I know where your children are, you know what this means.
I gave Dennis Wilson a bullet, didn't I? I gave him a bullet because he changed the words to my song.
Dennis Wilson was so terrified ultimately of Charlie Manson that he ran from him. With anybody else, Manson would have physically attacked him. But he has to live with it. He has to swallow it. Only because Manson still needed Wilson's best friend, Terry Melcher.
Terry Melcher was the son of Doris Day, the famous movie star and singer.
Que sera, sera.
He was living on Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon.
Terry Melcher is a genius at recognizing how to get marketable hit music.
He would produce the Byrds version of the Mr. Tambourine Man. Turn, turn, turn.
He'd have over 80 hit singles within a few years.
A significant force who could, on his say-so, have signed Charles Manson to a record contract.
So this makes Manson all the more determined, whatever it takes, he is going to make Terry Melcher his friend, and Terry Melcher will love it. Manson never, ever considered the fact that maybe he wasn't going to be good enough. Manson pursues Terry Melcher for months.
Unlike people like Dennis Wilson, you know, Melcher was a child of Hollywood.
He learns from childhood how to keep people at arm's length. You don't let everybody in. Manson, once riding around with Melcher and Wilson, they actually drive up Cielo Drive to Melcher's home. But Melcher does not invite them in, and that frustrates Manson.
Terry Melcher, on the other hand, did take an interest in finding out about Manson's music.
He finally gets Melcher to listen to his music.
He records Manson at the Spahn Ranch, and Melcher talked about that visit to BBC Radio 1.
I arrived and met a bunch of people. They all sat down and they played a dozen songs. It was a big campfire. And it was, you know, it was quite an interesting thing.
Manson tells the family that Melcher has promised him a recording contract.
And then Melcher had second thoughts, didn't think Manson was talented enough.
He tells Manson, your music is good, but I wouldn't know what to do with you. And at that moment, Charlie Manson's life turns completely.
Manson was furious.
Hairdresser, and I helped her shop for the flowers and the bows. The after-party Playboy Club was probably one of the parties of the century. Everybody was there.
Among them, Michael Caine and Candice Bergen. Joan Collins with Anthony Newley. Sharon Tate's co-star, Barbara Parkins, taking time off from Peyton Place.
It was stellar.
After that, she goes on to be in a Matt Helm movie.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I hurt you?
Of course you hurt me.
My father was doing The Wrecking Crew, which were those fabulous Matt Helm movies, which were always fun to watch him. We'd go down to the studio to watch him do it. He thought Sharon Tate was gorgeous, funny, smart, and he looked forward to maybe recreating her role again in the next movie.
Things were going to be good. Sharon Tate has married one of the top young filmmakers in Hollywood at that time, Roman Polanski, who has a huge success with Rosemary's Baby.
She and Polanski are going to have a baby.
So many plans for the future. We were hoping for a boy, and I say we because I come from a long line of girls.
And the symbol of this kind of idyllic success that they're enjoying in Hollywood is this house, which they're renting. It seems like a place where only love and happiness can be found. And that's what the end of 1968 looks like. In the Hollywood Hills, the Cielo House had a number of well-known owners and residents over the years. It had been photographed for an architectural glossy.
And it was a French farmhouse.
The grounds were beautiful.
It was serene. The views were amazing because it was off of Benedict Canyon.
You'll never find another view like it. I don't care where you go in the city. It went from all the way downtown to the beach to Catalina.
It was the most safe and secure and secluded and peaceful environment she could possibly think of to start her family.
They came up and looked at the property, and I met Sharon, and it was magical. She was a lovely lady.
For Sharon, you know, for so many years, it had been all about her acting career. But the moment she found out she was pregnant, her acting career just didn't matter to her at all. Everything that mattered was for the baby.
As we approach August 1969, Polanski is in London prepping a movie that Mike Nichols would go on to direct called The Day of the Dolphin.
Sharon Tate and her friends were at the house she had rented. She was massively pregnant. She was about to deliver her baby. And her husband was out of the country, so they had come to keep her company and make sure she was okay.
She was there with her friends Abigail Folger and Wojtek Frykowski and her one-time boyfriend and now friend, Jay Sebring.
He was a sharp, charismatic person. He was the creator of men's hair design.
He wasn't a barber. He was styling men's hair.
Single-handedly defined the iconic look of nearly every male recording and film star.
They wouldn't work without him.
Sammy Davis, Jim Morrison, Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, Warren Beatty, Frank Sinatra. I mean, he was defining culture.
This is like an evolution from a barber. Do you understand? Like the guy with the little pole in front, all of a sudden it was like on the cover of Time. Sharon came back into my salon and brought a new client she wanted me to do, and her name was Abigail Folger.
Folger's coffee? Yeah.
The last name, of course, is familiar because she was an heir to the Folger coffee fortune.
Honey, this coffee tastes terrific.
Folger's.
But she herself was working as a social worker.
Abigail was a little bit of a recluse. She always had her nose buried in a book.
She wasn't as open and generous in conversation as Sharon, a bit more reserved. Wojtek was her boyfriend.
Wojtek Frykowski was a childhood friend of Roman Polanski. They go out at one point that evening to a restaurant to get some food because she doesn't feel like cooking.
They're all staying at the house. They go out to dinner at El Coyote, which is a place everyone in the history of Los Angeles has eaten at.
We know that they are back in the house by 10 o'clock because Abigail Folger's mother calls and talks to Abigail at that time. It's simply going to be a quiet, comfortable night. And of course, it turned out not to be.
Because that's the night Charles Manson has dispatched some of his most slavishly devoted followers to go to that house and kill everyone inside, whoever they are.
Tex Watson will become a key figure as the events of August of 1969 take place. Watson is there at every key moment. These murders are unimaginable without Watson leading the way.
Charles Manson did what many cult leaders have done historically, taking someone into something very bad, but by baby steps, never allowing them to see where it was that he was really taking them in the end, which was murder.
There is a late-night visitor. He is the most unlucky man in the history of Los Angeles. He is a young boy who is selling a clock radio. And his are the first headlights that come up that driveway. And it's when he leaves that the nightmare begins. And his death will set off the most famous murder in the history of Los Angeles.
I'm a convict. I'm an outlaw. I'm not a Sunday school teacher.
Hello. This glamorous young actress, Sharon Tate.
Well, hello there.
And 4 other people at this Hollywood hideaway. So how could Charles Manson be guilty of murder if he wasn't at the crime scene?
When their hand was stabbing somebody, it was Manson guiding their hand.
And just this week, one of those women, Leslie Van Houten, was released from prison.
Major headline in a notorious case. Charles Manson follower Leslie Van Houten, convicted of killing 2 people back in 1969. She served a 53-year sentence.
Manson would tell their story on national TV to Diane Sawyer, and the world would hear a madman.
If you're going to do something, do it well. Leave a sign to let the world know that you were there. Have a good day.
Manson was a classic cult leader, a charismatic personality that became an object of worship to his followers.
He draws these people to him, and he tells them they're beautiful, they're wonderful.
Manson used drugs so he could suggest things to people in states of altered consciousness.
After I started taking acid with him, I believed that he had some kind of ultimate source of power. I believed that Charlie could blow life into dead birds, that he could control the weather.
He knew how to groom people and how to insinuate himself in their mind.
He asked us constantly, each one of us, will you die for me? Will you be my finger on a hand? Will you be me? He began to feel very paranoid, a rage and a hatred for society.
It's all of that that goes together that ends up taking someone to the door of the Tate residence.
On the night of August 8th, Manson goes out and picks 3 of his women, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian.
Charlie came and woke me up.
There are puddles and pools of blood everywhere.
That particular morning, it was very quiet. And the only thing that I can recall hearing were the sounds of the flies that were on the bodies.
It is a scene, in my view, that was designed to shock the police. And on a bigger scale, to shock the rest of us.
You're standing here. Do you allow yourself my God, what? Who are we? What is this?
It's tough. It's tough.
All right, now let's go, one at a time.
So the police, when they arrive and they see all these bodies at the house, the first person they want to talk to is the caretaker.
So I got up, and there was a police officer pointing a pistol at me, and he grabbed me, he handcuffed me. I kept saying, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Shut up."
The only suspect, a caretaker, 19-year-old William Garrettson, was released yesterday for lack of evidence.
What time was he released? 20 minutes ago.
Now, without a suspect, the Los Angeles Police Department must start all over again.
I was a young reporter at the Associated Press in August of 1969, and I had been assigned that day to go out to Orange County Airport to meet President Nixon. He landed, I called in, I said, the president has landed, and they said, forget the president. There's a much bigger story going on.
I was there the day after the killings, covering the story for ABC News.
The latest in the case from ABC's Dick Shoemaker in Los Angeles.
Police officers say the department already has given out... Let me do that again. Police officers say the department already has given out too much information about the mass murders.
My initial reaction was basically, this is one weird killing.
There were a lot of rumors that it was a satanic cult had done this and all sorts of rumors. And they were focused on Polanski and the fact that he had just done the movie Rosemary's Baby, which involved Satanism and a woman who was pregnant. It was just eerie.
Insulting, damaging rumors. They said, oh, Roman did this because he was jealous of Jay. I mean, are you kidding me?
They called Sharon everything from the queen of the Hollywood orgy scene to a dabbler in satanic arts. I think the one that sticks with me the most was live freaky, die freaky. Basically, by saying that, they blame the victims for their own murders.
The victim of one grisly addition to this year's crime statistics was buried today. Sharon Tate, a movie career just beginning. A life ended at the age of 26.
Their son was given the name of each of his grandfathers and was buried with Sharon.
You know that feeling where you just want to see him one more time. You just want to be able to hold him one more time and you can't. I grew up with a lot of fear. A lot of fear in my own home because nowhere was safe anymore. Nowhere. Not laying in your bed at night. Nothing was safe in my world anymore.
Panic set in across the city. Sporting goods stores were sold out of guns.
Apparently Sinatra left town. Tony Bennett was living at the Beverly Hills Hotel in one of the bungalows. He moved inside to be safe. Steve McQueen supposedly drove around with a gun in the front seat of the car now.
And all that was because for 3 months, no one knew who did it.
Have you come up with any rational motive for the killings?
No, everything at this point is purely speculative.
They'd found some marijuana and narcotics at the Tate killing scene, so they start investigating who among the victims was using drugs, who their sources might have been. Could this have been a drug deal gone bad that night? LaBianca had some gambling debts. Could it have been a gambling murder? Could it have been a mob murder of some sort? So weeks were spent pursuing that.
Sergeant Cook, can you tell us now how many men the Los Angeles Police Department has working on both of these cases?
Yes, we have 17 sergeants and 2 lieutenants whose prime responsibility now is the investigation of the both homicides.
Are they working together?
No, actually the homicides are not connected.
For a long time, these two crimes are not connected, even though we looked at the circumstances now and we go, wow, they seem very similar.
There was the trial.
It's a 10-year-old boy who winds up with the gun that was used inside the house.
One of the Manson family members had tossed this gun out a window, and a young kid had found it in his yard.
Little Stevie Weiss, and he was outside playing and found this gun. And he went to his father with it. He had seen enough TV that he knew not to touch the gun.
And so a patrol officer came out, picked up the gun with his hands, and then took it and booked it into evidence in Van Nuys.
He was a witness to the trial, and they said to him, well, when the police arrived and saw the gun, how did they handle it? And he said, they put their hands all over it. He was very annoyed.
And then it takes forever for the LAPD to realize that it is the gun that's used, you know, at the Tate home.
And another killing, a musician who lived in the Santa Monica Mountains. He too brutally stabbed, the words "political piggy" scrawled on the wall.
There was another mistake. There was a musician named Gary Hinman who was killed out in Malibu shortly before the Tate LaBianca killings, and Manson was one of the murderers there, and unfortunately Malibu was in the LA Sheriff's jurisdiction.
The day after the Tate murders, the investigators of the Hinman murder come to Los Angeles, and they're trying to talk to the officers involved in the Tate investigation to say, I think maybe there's a link here. They never get the opportunity to do that. They're told, no, we're pretty certain that this murder is going to be drug-related, and they're sent away.
But then, after all this fumbling around by the Los Angeles Police Department, they get this amazing break.
Today, warrants have been issued for the arrest of 3 individuals in connection with the murders of Sharon Tate.
We're about to see what evil looks like in the face of Charles Manson on the cover of Life magazine. And that is how 1969 will end. But that's just the beginning.
When I stand on the mountain and I say, do it, it gets done. If it don't get done, then I'll move on it. And that's the last thing in the world you want me to do.
Following the murders, there seems to be a state of high alert and anxiety at the Spahn Ranch.
Only a few days after the murders, in fact, here come all these helicopters, here come all these law enforcement officials.
Only it's not there for the reason we would all assume it's there for. They are there to arrest Manson and some of his associates for car theft.
They were stealing cars from the neighborhood, some of which they were transforming into dune buggies.
The arresting officers can't understand when they tell Manson that this is a raid because of suspected car theft. He seems relieved.
When he's told, Manson laughs. And so this crazy, unlikely thing takes place where these 2 hideous murders have happened, committed by the people at the ranch, and Manson is arrested for a totally different reason.
And it's the same kind of trouble that Manson has even written songs about.
Clang, bang, clang, went the big iron door. They put me in a cell with a concrete floor.
The next day in the paper, they've got a story about the raid, and they've got a story about the murders, never realizing that you've got the same man perpetrating both.
They have no idea what's going on.
But on the papers authorizing the raid, they get the date wrong, which nullifies the arrest, and they have to throw the whole thing out.
And they let him go.
When Manson's released on the car theft charges, he wants to get his family as far from the police as he possibly can. Charlie Manson gets all these people in a caravan of cars out to Death Valley.
He thought that by killing the people at Cello Drive, killing the 2 people at the LaBianca home, that this would somehow create this race war that he had predicted, fighting against the white people and winning.
Manson thought there was going to be an apocalypse, and he was outfitting these dune buggies with gun scabbards and machine gun mounts to be ready to fight. It was like Mad Max. Manson would get them together, and they were riding around in their dune buggies, firing off guns, getting ready for the race war. And that was really a big mistake for Manson, and that's what brought law enforcement there.
And when we were in the desert, he said, if they ever capture me again, the men in the black robes, I'm just going to be crazy old Charlie that all of you took care of.
So if he plays sort of the dumb old Charlie, I've got mental health issues, and have the girls sort of spin that to the police, in his mind, he thinks that might work.
California Highway Patrol officer James Purcell had come to Barker Ranch.
You got to understand, we had no idea what we had. We felt we were working with a bunch of hippies that were not a theft gang.
Purcell has a candle in one hand, the light is fading, he's got his .357 Magnum in another hand, and he walks into the house. It's terrifying.
Below the sink was a small cupboard, and hair was hanging out over the top of the cupboard door. Fingers began wiggling in the hair, and the door opened, and this figure began coming out.
He says, come out and don't do anything or I'll shoot you.
He came out, and I'll never forget the first thing he said was, hi. And I said, who are you? And he identified himself as Charles Manson. We dumped 26 people in the jail. Krenwinkel, Atkins, Squeaky, they were all in the first group.
Manson's theory of this apocalyptic race war.
I told the jury that when the words helter skelter were found printed in blood at the murder scene, this was tantamount to Manson's fingerprints being found at the scene.
When Bugliosi did this, helter skelter, he was able then to quantify the type of hold that Manson had over his followers. If Manson can get them to believe the Beatles are telling them a race war is coming, is it such a huge step that Manson would get them to believe it was their idea to go out and murder people? That was, I think, the genius of the whole Helter Skelter presentation.
Today in court, the prosecution's key witness, Linda Kasabian, continued to testify.
Linda Kasabian had been the driver on both the night of August 9th and the night of August 10th.
We granted Linda Kasabian immunity, so she was our star witness. She was an accomplice. She was equally guilty. She saw everything. She didn't physically kill anyone.
And had he not had her, Bugliosi might have lost the case because there was no one else that could give an eyewitness account. She said that she was outside on the lawn. Frykowski is who she was referring to. She said a man came toward me and he was bleeding and he had been stabbed, and I said to myself, oh God, make this stop.
Manson stared at Mrs. Kasabian and said, you have lied 3 times. The next lie, number 4, will harm you.
One of the attorneys is Ronald Hughes. He's Leslie Van Houten's attorney.
Hughes started to really represent Van Houten and tried to split her off from the others. Manson didn't care anything about the women. He wanted all the defense attorneys to represent him.
Manson specifically told the women to testify that he had nothing to do with the murders. And the attorneys realized that their clients were doing what Manson told them to do, as opposed to what was in their best interest.
For one of the women to have a lawyer who was saying, you don't have to be part of this anymore, that was very threatening.
Manson pointed across the counsel table, and Ronald Hughes sat right beside me, so I saw this. Manson pointed at him and glared at him and said, "Attorney, I don't want to ever see you in this courtroom again." And we never saw him again. And his body was found 6 months later, but it was so badly decomposed that we could never tell the cause of death.
Was found under a rock that had fallen on him or pushed on him or whatever. It sort of looks like someone did him in.
And then several years later, a former member of Manson's family called me wanting to remain anonymous and said that Hughes was murdered by the Manson family.
Others say the death of Ronald Hughes was just a tragic accident. No one was ever charged in connection with his death.
Hughes, I think the district attorney killed him. Because he was the only lawyer we had that was worth anything. He was the only one that was doing anything for us. You know, I think someone pushed him off a cliff.
The jurors were out for 9 days.
The prosecuting attorney would note that as the jury came in, before the verdict was read, he could see the hands of the big, scary Charles Manson shaking like a leaf.
The jury today found all 4 defendants guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy in the deaths a year and a half ago of Sharon Tate, the actress, and 4 other persons at her home, and the killing of 2 other persons 2 nights later.
They are ultimately convicted of all of the murder charges and are sentenced to death.
The green room will make anybody terrified. Death, for once, was looking at Manson.
We've seen Charlie do things that no human being has ever done.
What can entirely account for the public's interest and fascination in the Manson family homicides of 1969?
On the way, sir.
Their lurid claim on our consciousness.
People see the urban legend. They don't want to see the faces behind the ugliness.
And it continues to shock the conscience, both because of the brutality of the murders and because of this eerie cult-like control that Manson had over his followers.
There's no end to it. I saw a guy with a tattoo on his arm of Manson. If you go online, you can buy baby bibs, you can buy mugs.
Manson and his family members were sentenced to death, and the death penalty has been overturned in the state of California by the Supreme Court.
Many new issues.
Prosecutor Vincent Bugliosi heard that news.
Bugliosi realized Manson won.
And the fascination lingers because she did not.
Sharon was eerily beautiful.
A beauty dying young is always a kind of show business trope, and it leaves us with these luminous images that never fade.
She just seemed eager, she seemed wholesome.
Those who laid eyes upon Sharon Tate for the first time seemed to stop whatever it was they had been doing. And the only one who didn't was her murderer.
I told him that I didn't have any mercy on him.
Now she also is dead.
Charles Manson follower Susan Atkins has died. She suffered from brain cancer.
Susan Atkins would die in prison in 2009. Others of Manson's ex-followers, their lives destroyed by Manson, their identities reclaimed during their prison time, continue to serve life sentences. Tex Watson's fathered 4 kids while in prison.
Tex Watson remains in prison and will for the rest of his life.
But after spending more than a half-century behind bars, on July 11th, 2023, over the objections of her victim survivors, she had joined the Manson family at age 19. She's now in her 70s. Patricia Krenwinkel is...
Today was a huge step.
They're also fighting for us as well.
I beg you.
I'm so sorry.
Stories about what happened to Jessica don't quite match up.
I believe that the people that were involved, we brought them to justice. We stand by the investigations that we did.
I just don't know why it's taken so long.
It's just been a long 25 years.
This case is not going to be forgotten about.
I've got enough right now to take all of you down. But I come to you for the truth.
Hopefully, someone will come forward and tell what they know, and the truth will come out.
Jean Curran hung her head in disbelief.
Why did they get you?
You tell me.
Didn't know her, never met her, never seen her.
Because I did not know her or anything, man.
I kept telling them, I don't know anything. Leave me alone.
I didn't do it. Well, you
She kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
And that's the last time?
That's the last time I saw Jessica.
These roads are so dark. Anyone in a car could have pulled up and scooped her.
Why should we believe you now after all the lies you told?
A large tornado looks like it is going to have almost a direct hit here on Mayfield.
This is a confirmed tornado on the ground.
The small Kentucky town of Mayfield, population of about 10,000, reduced to rubble.
Just sounded like a freight train. It is scary.
You can see this trailer just completely flipped over.
Their downtown devastated. The courthouse, the clock tower ripped off.
Much like that tornado, which left so many victims, this story has had a long-lasting impact on Mayfield, Kentucky. It involves an unspeakable crime, a father who was a firefighter, and nearly a dozen suspects. The investigation ripped through this tight-knit community, fueling rumors and leaving so many unanswered questions about what exactly happened to 18-year-old Jessica Curran.
This is our fire truck here. This is a picture of the crew. This is all the captains.
You were a captain at this fire station?
Yes.
For how long?
Captain. Well, I made captain 3 years before I retired.
Did you always want to be a firefighter?
No, I really never dreamed of being a firefighter.
No.
No, I didn't.
How did it turn out this way?
Well, I was just needing a job at a time where it was hard to find one. And I ended up being a firefighter, which is something I really love because I like helping people. I used to walk from school just down the street here, and I used to cut across here, where the fire department is.
Little did you know.
Little did I know someday I would be in there. My name is Joe Curran, and Jessica Curran was my daughter. I have 4 kids. Jessica is the second one.
Joe, how would you describe your daughter, Jessica?
She was outgoing, and she was very thoughtful, friendly, passionate. She was really a person that you would want for a friend.
My name is Venetia Stubblefield. Jessica was my cousin. She was a sweet girl. She really was. She is an awesome friend. She was somebody you could sit down, laugh, talk to about any and everything, because she kept to herself. She was a beautiful girl.
Jessica Curran.
Yes.
How did you get to know her?
She was friends with a few of my cousins. Her family owned like a fishing pond. We used to go fishing there. And she was a very nice person. She was very, very helpful. She was very friendly.
She had a baby.
That's Zion.
This is Zion.
Yes, that's Zion. Jessica was 18 when she had the baby. She was a good mother. She'd check on him, she'd keep him, she'd hold him, she'd play with him, and she didn't really like to leave him much.
Being that was her first child, she adored that baby. She really did.
After she got pregnant, she decided she wanted to move out all at once. And me and her brother helped her move in to the Plaza Apartments. And all I wanted was her to go back to school, and she had did that. She was finishing up her GED.
I was a GED instructor, and Jessica was one of my students. She was a fun-loving child.
And then on July 29th, 2000, she vanishes.
Yes. I got off work that night. My wife had already talked, and she had told me to go by and pick up Zion. And when I went by Jessica's apartment, she was talking with her friends, and they told me that they most likely would go over to Venetia and her friend's house and play some cards. She got me the baby, and I put him in the car and brought him on home.
We were just sitting there playing spades and listening to music, and that's it, and having a couple of drinks, because it was just like a basically ladies' night.
So take me back to July 29th. Was Jessica in a good mood that night?
Yes,
Happy?
she was. Yeah, she was actually happy. She was happy that she got to get out for a little bit and enjoy the weather, enjoy sunlight, and get some air and take a break because she had been at home with her kid. Always had her little earrings in her ears, little rings on her finger, necklaces and bracelets.
What time did she decide to head out to leave the get-together?
Probably about 1:30ish, almost 2. I tried to get her a ride home, even offered to help walk her home. And she was like, no, I'm fine, I got it. Trust me. She was like, trust me, because I got it.
It would be 3 or 4 miles. It was on the opposite side of town. That's where the Plaza apartments were. At least 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, I would say.
We stood right here and watched her walk until we didn't see her walking no more. And she kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
Jessica decides to head out on foot. According to Venetia, Jessica says goodbye to her friends right around here and then heads off into the darkness.
It's really crazy to me that she decided to make this walk. It's a really scary walk.
And that's when we became very nervous.
You knew something was wrong.
And that was it, and that's the last time I saw her.
Truth is a whole lie. And if there's a place that breathes life into that proverb, it's the town of Mayfield in Graves County, Kentucky.
You had to come to this town. Why did you have to physically be here in Mayfield?
Anytime you come to a location, it helps you understand the scene better.
Well-known podcaster Maggie Freeling dug into the Jessica Curran case. What did you wind up getting?
Well, what I think we got was the lengths we go to get justice.
Her reporting culminated in the new installment of the Bone Valley Podcast, Season 3, Graves County.
This is Graves County, Chapter 1. My name is Maggie Freeling. I'm a Pulitzer-winning journalist and producer who has spent years reporting on the criminal legal system. That's how I first heard about this case.
Coming to a place like this is so important to gather information, especially in a small town where everyone's talking.
Mayfield, Kentucky.
Yes.
What is that place like?
It's a very small town. It's pretty much like everybody knows everybody.
I'm Tina Schlosser, and I taught at Mayfield Middle School. Mayfield is a nice place to live. I raised 3 boys there. The people all seem to be friendly.
Mayfield to me was like, although it's small and countryish, it reminded me of like a little city.
I was born and raised in Mayfield. One thing that my family was kind of big on, be careful who you party with and hang with because you never know what they'll do to you.
There wasn't a lot of crime or anything like that. We knew that there were some kind of call themselves gangsters, little guys that, tried to sell drugs and stuff like that, and they got in trouble.
Mayfield, Kentucky is in the area where the KKK is based out of in Kentucky. And so there is a bit of segregation, I guess, that took place in that city.
Did you face discrimination growing up?
I would have to tell you the truth, yes. I had some of the teachers said that they didn't really want me in their class. It's just how it was back in those days.
Sunday, July 30th, it's the morning after Jessica had gone to that card game with her friends, and her parents stopped by her apartment.
We went by to pick her up to go to church that Sunday morning. We knocked on the door, we didn't get any answer, so we went to church. And then after we got out of church, we kind of went back to her house and started asking some of the people around the neighborhood if they had seen her. And of course, none of them said that they had seen her.
You knew something was wrong.
My wife had already said it because she hadn't called, but she normally called and checked on Zion. When I told her she's a young lady, 18, she just moved out like a week before.
That's where she had an apartment, huh?
Yeah.
What happens when her parents come in here that day?
Jessica's not here. They instantly were worried. Not normal for her.
She would never leave her son.
She would never leave her son. She was in love with her son, Zion.
Jessica had just moved to her apartment and had plans to go to college, so things were looking up for her. But the streets had been talking about her new baby boy. What was the talk around town about her baby?
That it belonged to a guy by the name of Jeremy Adams.
Jeremy Adams is the father of Jessica Curran's son.
I knew Jeremy. We weren't friends, but we knew each other. So he began off a vibe, you know, and his vibe just never was a good vibe to me, so I never hung around him.
He was always nice. He was a sweet person, you know what I'm saying? But it's like certain people that he hung with, it's what gave him a bad name and a bad reputation.
There was no relationship between Jessica and Jeremy Adams, just kind of a one-time kind of thing, and he didn't want to see her anymore. She didn't want to see him anymore. She had another boyfriend, and that was Lolo Saxton, and he seems to be a pretty good guy and, you know, pretty thoughtful.
Sheena and Joe went up at my mom's house asking about Jessica.
We didn't really know what to do, so we decided we'd check around to see what we could find out.
Jessica's family searches for 2 days, and then there's news of a startling discovery behind the middle school.
On August the 1st, 2000, school hadn't officially started. We had planted some plants out back, and I wanted to check on them. And so I was walking out back, and when I opened the door, I saw this shoe laying on the ground, and it was a sandal, and it looked like somebody had just walked out of it or ran out of it. And I looked to my left, and there was a body laying there. And I was, you know, it was just floored me to no end. The body had been burned. I mean, it was a horrible sight to see.
And then you hear that a body has been found.
Yes, a body was found. And then that's when we became very nervous. We went on straight to the police department. They hadn't completely or exactly identified her yet. And then they showed some of the jewelry that she had on, and most of it was my wife. It was a total shock. I mean, we never dreamed that it would be her.
It was like in shock, like, are you serious? And it was like, wow, we just dropped our cups and just fell to the ground and just cried.
I can only imagine what it must be like to process your daughter being gone.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's hard. It's especially hard on my wife. It's something that stays deep in your soul.
Jessica Curran gets murdered.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find out?
It was the talk of the town.
A teacher found a burned body behind Mayfield Middle School. They say it looks like a homicide.
It's scary that somebody could dump a body right almost in your front door.
Somebody get killed and burned up, definitely a big deal.
I was shocked, I was angry, and it hurt.
All agencies are working basically around the clock.
My thought was, who could have killed her?
Police start hearing about rumors ripping through Mayfield.
So far, police say there are no motives and no suspects.
It was like the crucible. I mean, everyone was out for everyone.
Pulling up to...
This looks like the police station.
Wow. This is the police station?
This is the police station.
Like a small little house.
Podcaster Maggie Freeling and I drove through Mayfield, Kentucky, following the alleged path of the crime.
Her apartment was right back here. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
the last building right there.
On the left? And she had just moved in.
She had just moved in. She had barely spent any time there.
Police video documents the day Jessica Curran's body was discovered in that schoolyard. In a place where children play, murder investigators are now at work.
Police don't know how long the body has been here or even if the crime happened here. They do know the body had already started decomposing and there were signs of a struggle.
Jessica's sandals are there, and her ripped underwear, untouched by fire, apparently removed before she was burned. Her dress is above her waist.
The middle school is about a 20-minute walk from where Venetia Stubblefield says she and Jessica said goodbye. It's a long way from her home at Mayfield Plaza Apartments.
It's the middle school. And we were going right
Over there?
So Mayfield Middle School, huh?
This is the Mayfield Middle School. And back in 2000, none of this was here. So it was just this building. So right back here, and we're gonna walk up to this gate, there was a little garden area. And she was found right between there.
Did police initially believe she was killed here?
Initially, this is what they believed was the crime scene. Seems like someone was trying to run. Her sandal was found a little farther away from her body.
It's been approximately 2 years since we've had our last homicide here in Mayfield.
The Kentucky State Police and the state medical examiner are all called in to help work the case. A Mayfield patrolman, already tapped to make detective, is promoted on the spot.
The day that they found her body is the day I was made a detective.
Rookie detective Tim Fortner is appointed lead investigator, and with the help of more experienced detectives, he will run the case.
Because I was still in the uniform, they said go home and put your, get you some khakis and a white shirt. And so they sent me home to do that.
He came to the house and told me and my wife that he had absolutely no experience and he didn't know what he was doing. And he don't know why they put him on the case, but he was on the case and he was trying to do it.
On the day that he assigned you to the Jessica Curran murder investigation, did you feel like you were qualified to handle that investigation?
Absolutely not.
There was some physical evidence. There was a belt that came into play later in the case that was found.
The braided belt also, that was kind of burnt a little bit, so.
It was kind of really, really crazy for us to find out that she had been beaten, strangled, and then set on fire. That shows a lot of extreme hate.
The autopsy report notes Jessica suffered blunt head trauma, and based on the braided belt found next to her body, strangulation.
There was an issue about, in particular, a dress that Jessica had on at the time of her body being found.
One of the garments that she was wearing was just basically thrown away.
And I remember holding it up at the time of the autopsy, asking somebody, I'm not sure who was present at the autopsy, do you want this article of clothing? And the answer was no.
Mayfield police acknowledged that Jessica's dress was not preserved.
It was just, it doesn't make sense. It was just really not good.
2 days earlier, soon after authorities believed Jessica Curran was killed, a deputy sheriff encountered a man named Quincy Cross just outside Mayfield.
And asked him, what the problem was. He stated he'd run out of gas.
The deputy noted that Quincy kept pulling up his pants because he didn't have a belt on.
He had a pair of dark pants on with no belt.
There was a belt that was found near Jessica's body. That belt is used to kill Jessica.
He was holding a gas can, attempting to try to, said he spilled some gas on his pants. They could see a little residue on the car.
The accelerant that was used to burn Jessica's body was gasoline also.
The deputy gives Quincy a ride to a nearby home on Chris Drive, where Quincy had been partying earlier.
He ultimately was found in possession of cocaine. He was arrested.
Quincy Cross is in the county jail on drug charges when Jessica's burned body is discovered.
Collect call from Quincy Cross.
All these years later, I spoke to Quincy on the phone. Do you remember being questioned about Jessica's murder in 2000?
Yeah, but it didn't really bother me, you know what I'm saying? To hear somebody asking me questions, I kept telling them I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know nothing about none of that.
Quincy Cross says he's no killer, with little evidence to prove him wrong. Detectives turn to Jessica's cousin, Venetia, and a startling allegation. Is the person who says she last saw Jessica walking off alone, keeping secrets about her death.
I was like, Mom, the police is here. She's like, what? I was like, the police is here.
The investigation into the murder of Jessica Curran, who was found dead behind the Mayfield, Kentucky Middle School, graduates to high school when administrators alert police that 2 students may have information.
When the situation happened with Jessica, Victoria went back and lied on me to the school's resource police officer.
17-year-old Venetia Stubblefield and 15-year-old Victoria Caldwell, 2 schoolmates who will be at the center of this case for the next 25 years. So how would you describe what you've been through?
I would describe it as being very traumatic and not easygoing at all, and very hard.
What was going on?
There was a lot of sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental. It was just a lot.
That traumatized teenager is then caught up in a murder case. When they discovered Jessica's body, you were interviewed by investigators.
Yes.
12:47 p.m. Thursday, the 7th day of September. I'm at the Mayfield High School in the conference room outside the principal's office. Present is myself, Detective Tim Fortner, and also Victoria Caldwell.
Detectives pull Victoria out of class for an interview.
Somebody had given me some information that possibly that you might have ever heard a conversation between somebody about the murder or homicide, whatever you want to call it, of Jessica Curran.
She tells them that before the murder, she overheard Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica's baby, talking to Jessica's boyfriend, Carlos Saxton, nicknamed Lolo.
Okay, what were they saying? Do you remember?
All I know is that first Johnny said payback's the B word.
Payback's a bitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said we're gonna get her good.
But what Victoria says next is more astonishing. She says Venetia, the cousin who had said Jessica walked off alone that night, was now saying Jessica was taken for a ride by Jeremy Adams.
She went and told them that I approached her and told her that I know something about a girl's body being behind the school and about a girl being killed.
No, she was walking that way, and Venetia and Jeremy and some more people that were in the car. I think it was like 2 more people that was in the car. I guess they put her in the car or something, and I guess Jessica was trying to fight with them. And Venetia told them to stop the car and let me out because I don't want nothing to do with it. And that's all she said.
That's when we get a knock at the door, and Mom's like, see what it is at the door? I was like, Mom, the police is here. She's like, what? I was like, the police is here.
Venetia tells detectives Victoria is lying. Victoria tells police that you said you were in a white car with Jeremy Adams that night. Is that true?
No, sir, it was not.
Why would
Jeremy,
she lie?
Because that's the typical person that she was, and that's the type of person the type of stuff that she did to her friends.
6 months after the murder, a grand jury indicts Jeremy Adams and Carlos Saxton. Adams is charged with murder, Saxton with complicity to commit murder. Both pled not guilty, denying any involvement in Jessica's death.
Saxton and Adams, do you think the police did a good job of investigating them?
I don't know. I was hoping that they did.
The case relied largely on 2 inmates who police say told them Adams had confessed and implicated Saxton. A trial is set for Adams, with Saxton's trial to follow. But between crime and punishment, it all falls apart.
The murder trial of Jeremy Adams was supposed to start this week, but Judge John Daudet dropped the charges.
The police and prosecutors do not hand over at least 18 tapes of interviews to the defense. So the case winds up being dismissed. The charges against Jeremy and Lolo are dropped.
The case is in shambles. So is the police department. The chief and assistant chief have left the force for unrelated reasons. Mayfield hands over the case to the Kentucky State Police.
This case is not going to be forgotten about by the family and friends of Jessica Curran, and I can assure you this case is not going to be forgotten about by the Kentucky State Police.
Victoria moves to California.
Detective Sandstick with Kentucky State Police.
Venetia is questioned repeatedly by state police detectives.
We are here today to offer you full immunity. Okay, you can tell me today that you killed her, okay, and you're immune. I'm not here to charge you with anything. I will not charge you with anything, okay?
Every time she insists she had nothing to do with the death of Jessica Curran.
The night that she was murdered, that night after she left us, that was it. I didn't see her no more. So whatever statements y'all got saying that I did, well, you're wrong. Because I did not see her no more that night. I had stuck with my story from the beginning when they first questioned me. I never skipped a beat. I never switched it up. I've never changed anything out of my story.
But you're telling us right now that you were not there.
If y'all give me a Bible right now, I put my right hand on the God on that Bible and let y'all know that I was not there. Bring me the Bible, booty. My right hand on this Bible, I was never in that car, and I never was around. There you go.
Jessica may not be here today in body, but she is definitely here in spirit.
Now an unofficial investigator emerges, a cape-wearing crusader.
Susan Galbraith is one of those people who's kind of pushy and kind of just really knows everyone from around town. Again, it's a small town. She knows people. She knows law enforcement.
The day Jessica's body was found, Susan Galbraith, who's not a police officer, was right there at the crime scene.
That's when Susan says her curiosity turned into an obsession. If the cops weren't going to crack the case, she would.
I am 99% sure that I know exactly what happened the night that Jessie died, okay? I know who killed her.
The self-appointed detective interrogates Venetia.
People that I've talked to are saying that you were at the scene. To be honest with you, Sue, I had no part in none of this. I deny.
Still ahead, the citizen detective claims there's a witness willing to come forward, but in fear for their life.
She messages saying she has information, but she's scared to talk, and she doesn't know who she should talk to.
She was afraid that she was going to be hurt, injured, or killed.
The Mayfield Police Department had the case for 3 years and didn't solve it. And then the state police had the case for about 3 years.
It's now 6 years after Jessica Curran's murder, and Victoria Caldwell resurfaces.
The first lead the Mayfield police received was from Victoria.
Victoria indicated to the police that they should look at Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica Curran's son, and also Carlos Saxton, who is her boyfriend at the time.
Remember, charges were dropped against both men. Now living in California, Victoria reaches out to the state police and says her sister Rosie has passed on an alleged threat to Victoria's life.
She just started yelling, like, I told you they were going to kill you.
She was yelling at you that she told you they were going to kill you?
Yeah.
That who was going to kill you?
Quincy.
Quincy Cross, the man who was arrested reeking of gasoline just hours after Jessica vanished. Police then speak to Rosie about that alleged death threat.
Quincy directly said to you what?
That he wanted to kill my sister.
Okay. And did he tell you why?
Due to that case, because she was running her mouth.
Has Quincy or anybody else directly told you that they were involved in the murder of Jessica Curran?
Just Quincy had told me he was involved in the murder. I have been there when they're discussing the murder and stuff like that, him and Tamara.
My name is Tamara Caldwell. Rosie and Victoria were my first cousins. We never talked to each other, really. I just didn't hang out with them.
Has Tamara ever told you that Quincy was involved in this murder?
Quincy never asked me or talked to me about anything about dealing with Jessica Curran's murder. He never did.
Tamara Caldwell, your relationship with her?
That's my cousin. We really never really got along, just because our moms really butted heads a lot.
Tamara had dated Quincy back in the day.
Yeah, I thought Quincy was cute. We got along great. My kids loved him. They still love him.
How odd would it be for you to call Tamara? Can you get her to talking about Quincy?
Yeah, I could probably get her talking about Quincy.
That same day, at the request of the state police, Rosie calls her cousin Tamara on the phone.
Because you know the cops are hot on Quincy.
Okay.
Did you know he was involved in that murder?
Yep.
Okay, because I didn't know. Somebody said that they was going to try to kill Victoria, so. I don't know.
Tamara doesn't acknowledge any threat against Victoria, and today she says she doesn't even remember the call.
I do not recall that conversation that Rosie had with me. No, I don't.
The state police continue following leads and interviewing people. Then, 3 months later, they speak to Quincy Cross.
Who do you think killed Jessica?
I don't know. I didn't know her.
Detectives hone in on that morning after Jessica disappeared, when Quincy says he left that party on Chris Drive, ran out of gasoline, spilled some on himself, and encountered a deputy on the road.
He smelled gas on me. You know what I'm saying? He gonna put that on the paper, a strong odor of gasoline. Like I done.
What's gasoline got on in your clothes got anything to do with anything?
Hold on, she was burnt up for one. They might have led them to believe I had something to do with that.
Detectives also tell Quincy they believe his belt was used to kill Jessica Curran.
And I can tell you your belt's around her neck.
Oh well, I ain't do with it.
Your belt, her neck. It's there, dude.
Hey, I don't believe it's mine.
I'm telling you.
You come up and saying, yeah, it's your okay. If it's mine, convict me.
After the interview, Quincy is free to leave. The state police continue investigating, and so does Susan Galbraith.
The gas, the belt, and his demeanor the night Jessica went missing. These three things made citizen investigator Susan Galbraith hone in on Quincy. She just needed to figure out how, why, and with whom. Quincy came from out of town to this party at Chris Drive. So when Susan Galbraith starts her own citizen investigation, she finds that at this party at Chris Drive, there were two white boys, one of which turns out to be Jeff Burton.
They were saying that I was seen at a party. A lot of times people have like little house parties and stuff, and I'm a teenager, so I'm liable to pop in and pop out. You know, who knows?
So Susan decides she's gonna make a MySpace. MySpace is the before Facebook.
It was a social media platform that people used to communicate and meet each other on. If anybody had any information, she was trying to collect it to turn that over to the police.
The police had not spoken with Jeffrey Burton when Susan Galbraith posed his name, among others, in what she labeled as a person of interest list on that MySpace page. She would describe that list later in court.
I didn't say they did it. It was just, I just had person of interest, but it didn't say they did anything. I could have been interested in what kind of shoes they were.
A friend of mine had called me and he's like, you might want to get on MySpace. They're talking about your name in connection with the murder of Jessica Curran. And I'm like, what in the world? What, you know, this makes no sense. So I'm kind of freaking out, and I call my mom, and call my uncle.
When Susan Galbraith lists on MySpace that your nephew, Jeffrey Burton, is a key person of interest, what goes through your mind?
I couldn't believe it.
This don't make sense at all. These aren't people that I hung around, nothing like that at all.
A new story about what happened to Jessica emerges.
She hit her with the bat in her head. She was unconscious.
Involving a surprising number of new suspects.
They try to make it like I was the one that struck the match and I threw it on her.
I kept telling them, I don't know anything.
This was the beginning of the end for me.
Were you, in fact, involved in that killing? So where are we here?
So this is Jeff Burton's house.
This is a house where they took Jessica to. She was allegedly killed.
A friend of mine had called me. They're talking about your name in connection with the murder of Jessica Curran. And I'm like, what in the world? What, you know, this makes no sense.
I did not know her or anything, man. I mean, you might have got some people to write some statements against me saying whatever. I don't understand, man.
Jeffrey, what does it feel like to be back here?
Honestly, it kind of makes my nerves a little shaky.
You want to go charged with murder? Well, now you tell me which way you want to go with it. I didn't do nothing. Well, you tell us. I didn't do nothing. We know what happened.
No, you think you know what happened.
He's an innocent man and spent all this time in prison.
There's nothing physical that puts him there. There's no DNA.
You told the jury that Jessica was strangled with a belt.
Yes. Victoria's story has now changed.
How much of what you testified under oath was true?
None of it was true.
Zero.
The tornado ripped through this town and destroyed Mayfield. What it did to people was so similar to the tornado of Jessica's death that came into this town.
Police don't know how long the body has been here or even if the crime happened here.
I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything. Very spooky.
So she walks off into the darkness, and that's the last you hear of her.
Yes, she kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
So many people were embroiled in this.
They had dropped the case on the two main guys. We got a case here that's went for years and nobody had done anything. And we wanted to see, you know, something done.
With seemingly little movement in the case, the Curran family organizes marches, and the story makes headlines.
But Reverend Sharpton's National Action Network plans to make Jessica Curran's murder a national concern.
Around that same time, Susan Galbraith had started working with the state police.
We know exactly who killed Jessica Curran. There's a lot of people that are feeling comfortable right now because they think they've got away with it, but they haven't.
What do you think of Susan Galbraith? Just down this street is Mayfield Middle School, where Jessica's body was found 3 days after she was last seen. And just up this street, Susan Galbraith, that citizen sleuth, found a house she strongly believed was connected to Jessica's murder. It was the home of Jeff Burton.
In the year 2000, I was 20 years old. I just had a little daughter that February. A lot of the time I spent smoking, drinking, just being young, probably kind of wild a little bit.
So where are we here?
So this is Jeff Burton's house. This is where it used to be, and it has since been demolished.
Why did Susan Galbraith want to come here?
Susan kind of honed in on Jeff. She saw that there were two white boys at this party, and that's how she got Jeff's name. And from there, she realized his house, how close it is to the middle school.
In fact, she wrote about it in an email.
She did. As I walked around the house, I saw a garage. It was so eerie, felt as though time stood still. I crept over to the door and was overwhelmed with a feeling of dread. I didn't go in for fear of tainting the scene. I was so excited, I knew I had finally found where they had Jessica.
Susan would share her impressions of the visit with investigators from a third agency that's now leading the investigation.
I had gotten in touch with the Attorney General, and he said, I'm going to put somebody on that case. And then he sent down the KBI.
The Kentucky Bureau of Investigations was the law enforcement arm of the Kentucky Attorney General's office. The two investigators were Lee Wise and Robert O'Neill.
I was at the AG. My main function was in the drug unit. I was brought into the case mainly because of my ability to do investigations. And part of it was that the director, David James, felt like that Afro-American black person would probably have better inroads into getting people to come forth and talk.
These agents had not worked homicide cases, and these two agents are now working this homicide.
The one person that was instrumental in ultimately helping out on the case, Susan Galbraith, who was just a lady that was in the community that kind of took the weight of this case, and she really wanted to see something done on it. She was on the internet, and ultimately she got in contact with Victoria.
Susan was convinced Victoria was the key to cracking the case.
What were your interactions like with Susan Galbraith?
She would text me on MySpace and try to communicate with me.
Asking things like what?
About Jessica Curran, or if I really knew anything.
Victoria read one of her messages to Susan in a BBC radio program reporting on the case.
I am afraid for my life. I'm sorry about what happened. I will help the police as much as I can, but I really don't know who to trust.
You ultimately decide to talk to the KBI,
yes,
to come forward with them.
I told them a different story.
This interview is being conducted at the Radisson Inn, Santa Maria, California.
Victoria turned out to be Susan's missing puzzle piece. She would not only point the finger at Quincy, but at many others, including her own family.
Quincy and Tamara and this white guy had pulled up to my house.
You said you remembered his first name.
Yeah, it
What was
was
that?
Jeffrey. And my cousin had asked me if I wanted to take a ride with them. And I was like, yeah. We got right back to the same area of the middle school area. They picked up Anisha.
And then, Victoria says, they go pick up Jessica.
Jessica gets into the car. She got up front, in the middle, and
In the middle of who?
in the middle of Quincy and Tamara. As we were driving, I remember Quincy was rubbing on one side of her leg, and Tamara was rubbing on the other side, and she kept pushing their hands away. So I remember Quincy got mad. When we got to the white guy's house, they had pulled Jessica to get out the car with them, kind of like forcing her. And they go inside, and then they go into this bedroom. And I heard yelling and screaming, so I was wondering what the hell was going on. And so I opened the door, and that's when I had seen Tamara holding Jessica down and Quincy over her with the belt around her neck. I touched her neck, and I told him that she was dead. I think Quincy lifted the head, and the white guy lifted the feet, and I believe Tamara put the blanket up under her to wrap her body in it. And after they wrapped her, they took her out of the house, put her in the back of the car. And we all got into the car, and Quincy stops to get gas. He got a cup, and he put the gas in the cup. And he gets back in the car, and that's when we ended up back at the middle school. I remember they had laid the body down. Quincy threw the gas on her. Anisha threw the match.
And what happens after that?
The dominoes start falling.
Y'all killed her, right?
You want to go charged with murder?
Do nothing. No, that's lies, man. Man.
Today's date is February the 25th. We're in the city of Mayfield, Kentucky. Present in the vehicle is Victoria Caldwell.
A few days after, Victoria tells the KBI how she says Jessica was murdered. Agents take her back to Mayfield, to the alleged crime scene.
This is a house where they took Jessica to. She was allegedly killed.
But all that's left there is a concrete slab, and no evidence is found.
This would be where Jeff Burton resided.
The crime scene went from the middle school. This is now the crime scene.
The day after that ride-along, Victoria is taken to the Attorney General's office where she provides a videotaped statement.
We're conducting a videotaped interview of Victoria Caldwell.
We stopped at the white guy's house.
Had you ever been to that house before?
Yes.
What were you doing over at his house?
My sister used to mess with me.
Which one?
Rosie.
Victoria says she knew Jeffrey's house because she says her sister Rosie was seeing Jeffrey at one point.
Then, Victoria gives authorities a different version of what she says happens in the car and how Jessica is taken inside the house.
Quincy. She hit her with a bat on her head.
A bat? What kind of bat?
Like a little bat.
Where did he hit her?
I care.
What'd she do?
She went unconscious.
Huh?
She went unconscious.
In one of the versions of the story, Jessica is hit in the car with what looks like a souvenir baseball bat. She is unconscious and carried inside.
Victoria adds that Jessica was not only killed, but she says multiple people, including herself, also sexually assaulted her.
It's also questionable whether she was dead or not when sexual activities were happening, what exactly happened when and who did what.
Finally, Victoria alleges a shocking motive that points the finger at the former assistant chief of the Mayfield Police Department, Ronnie Lear.
Quincy was talking on his cell phone.
Who was it talking to?
Ronnie. Lear. She just kept saying it's taken care of. That's all I remember Quincy said, it's taken care of.
I want to know why Jessica Curran was murdered that night. Do you know?
She was gonna tell Ronnie's liked it for us sleeping together.
Lear tells the KBI what he'd earlier told the state police, that he simply did not know Jessica.
I never knew who the girl was, never seen her before in my life. I mean, they showed me a picture, I didn't have a clue who Jessica Curran was.
Lear also adds he didn't know Cross and actually considered him the #1 suspect.
We looked at Ronnie Lear, but as far as him being active in the murder, we had no information as it related to that.
We took all the evidence we had, put it all together, and we sat down with the Special Prosecutions Unit at the Attorney General's office. That's how it all came together as we were ready to go forward with the indictments. So we started bringing people in and talking to them.
Just 30 minutes north of Mayfield is the Drury Inn and Suites in Paducah, Kentucky. This low-key hotel's conference room becomes ground zero for intense questioning by the KBI, the Kentucky Bureau of Investigation. Jeffrey, what does it feel like to be back here?
Honestly, it kind of makes my nerves a little shaky again. Of course, it brings back one of the worst days of my life.
It affects you even now?
Yes, yes, sir.
Why?
Well, just because, I mean, this was the beginning of the end for me, so to speak.
Today is Friday, March 23rd. We're here conducting an interview with Jeffrey Burton.
Jeffrey's house was the location where they brought Jessica Curran's body. That's where bad things happened to her.
Same people are going to stand across from you and point at you and say, it's his house. You can look as confused.
It's more concern.
That's not concern. That's fear.
If that's the case, you might as well take me to jail now, because I did not know her or anything, man. I mean, you might have got some people to write some statements against me saying whatever. I don't understand, man.
I'm freaking out, you know what I mean? I'm really on the inside, you know, freaking out.
I know I didn't rape anybody and nobody was murdered around me anytime.
Let me tell you something, Jeff.
Anytime.
Remember, Victoria says she knew Jeffrey's house because she'd been there with her sister Rosie.
Jeffrey tried to deny it that he knew Rosie or that he knew Victoria.
Step right up here, Rosie. You ever seen this gentleman before?
She was already there, so we thought we'd just bring her in.
We never had sex, what he's saying, and I never called you.
We never went together.
No. Hey, come on now. You know that's a lie.
I didn't even know her. So to have her in front of me and she's kind of looking at them and then looking back at me.
When was the last time that you were contacted by Jeff Burton?
2 months ago.
2 months ago. 2 months ago?
Go ahead and take me to jail.
So I'm just like, man, just if you're gonna take me to jail, just take me to jail. You know what I mean? I was just over it.
The truth is gonna come out. What's done in the dark, ultimately is gonna come to the light.
That's it.
And then you're arrested.
Just stand up. You're under arrest for murder or just.
You got to go.
What was it like to be let out of that hotel room in handcuffs?
Just surreal, like I couldn't believe it was happening. It felt like a nightmare. It was like, there's no way this is real. There's no way. But it was real.
Jeffrey is arrested for multiple charges, including murder, kidnapping, and rape, and is carted off, passing Tamara Caldwell as she enters the room.
It was draining.
You said I didn't do nothing. But
I didn't do nothing.
Yes, you did.
And now Quincy Cross is in the hot seat.
You said Jeff Burton, you say you don't know him. How can a person lie on you that you don't know?
Man, look, you figured it out. That's for you. You investigated. You figured it out.
I was down in the cruiser for like hours. The first time I went up to the room, it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
The detectives questioned Tamara Caldwell about knowing Jeffrey Burton.
Tamara, did you know the guy just walked out of here? You ever seen him before?
Please.
The one that was just in this chair? No, I don't. I promise. I don't know. No, I don't know nothing.
You wasn't with him at night? Jessica was murdered?
No, I was not.
I didn't hang out with Jeffrey Burton. I knew him from school. That's it.
Those interviews were brutal.
It was draining because I kept telling him, I don't know anything. Leave me alone. I don't know anything.
You want to go charged with murder, or you want to just be charged with being there and sexually molesting that girl? Now you tell me which way you want to go with it.
I didn't do nothing.
Well, you tell us.
I didn't do nothing.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it. Y'all, I promise. I didn't do nothing.
Yes,
I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about it. I was at home when this happened.
The detectives hammer home that they believe Tamara and Quincy were the ringleaders of this crime.
You murdered Jessica. It's up to you whether you go to jail on the charge that you can get out on, or whether you go on murder. But you go. So we're giving you the opportunity.
You the captain, right along with Quincy.
I don't know nothing about this. All I know is I met him in jail.
How could I have had anything to do with it? And this happened in 2000. I didn't know Quincy Cross until 2002. So how could I have anything to do with it, period? How did I get brought into this, period?
Tamara says she and Quincy parted ways in 2005.
You know, with them being charged together, obviously they want to make as much distance between themselves as they can.
Both Tamara and Quincy are being charged with murder, kidnapping, and rape. At the time, Quincy was 30 years old, born and raised in Tennessee and from a big family. He'd been in trouble before with the law.
Quincy Cross was involved in narcotics and drugs. That's verified. He's known as a drug dealer.
We come from a close-knit family. Quincy is my protective big brother. He was fun, he was definitely outspoken, but he also was nurturing.
He didn't meet many strangers because he was funny. He was a jokester.
We're here to conduct this interview with Quincy Cross, who is currently present with us.
We interviewed him for probably 2 hours.
We know what happened.
No, you think you know what
We
happened.
know what happened. Okay. All right. We might have missed the point. We might have missed the point here and there, but we know what happened.
If you know what not to put in.
We're giving you a chance to come clean.
Ain't no need to come clean when you already know.
We're giving you a chance to have peace with yourself.
This is what peace is. I don't want to have it. Because I ain't got nothing to do with it.
You said Jeff Burton, you say you don't know. How can a person lie on you that you don't know?
You investigated. You took
I have to ask you, did you kill Jessica Curran?
No, I did not kill Jessica Curran, or have anything to do with killing Jessica Curran, or knew anybody that killed Jessica Curran.
Did you rape Jessica Curran?
No, I did not kill Jessica. I did not rape Jessica. I didn't even know Jessica. Let's get that in line. I never knew Jessica.
Were you involved in any way with Jessica's murder?
No, I was not. Anyway, no kind of way.
Were you in the car with Venetia the night Jessica was murdered?
I didn't even know Venetia.
Yet according to the KBI, Venetia is just one of several eyewitnesses who places Quincy at the center of this case.
The story that we got from Victoria and the story that we got from Venetia was consistent in a lot of areas.
Venetia, what was happening?
They was scuffling and shaking.
What was stuff?
Quincy and Jessica.
Who took it?
Quincy.
And who?
Tamara.
What's your birthday?
He was walking in the house behind me on Victoria.
Venetia, she was another hard interview because she was very emotional.
I have ADHD and then
Jessica in that car.
You know, it seems like she was trying to remember what happened, that she was kind of befuddled.
What you do to the body?
Took it and moved it to a different spot.
Where'd you move it in?
Behind the skull.
Victoria and Venetia are charged with evidence tampering and abuse of a corpse. They both pleaded guilty.
Venetia and Victoria will testify against the others.
being locked up behind bars, it took like a big toll on me.
Despite their repeated denials and a lack of forensic evidence, Quincy, Jeffrey, and Tamara head to trial, their lives in the balance, and a wrench thrown into the case. A weapon, prosecutors say, was buried in a backyard.
How do you know that this is the same tool that was used to hit Jessica?
The motive for Jessica Curran's murder is still unclear at this time. The connection between the three people arrested for her murder has not been confirmed either.
They were going to try me, Quincy, and Tamara together, and then they separated it to where they did Quincy by itself.
Hundreds of potential jurors showed up today. Quincy Omar Cross sat in court with his attorneys. The Curran family prayed before the trial began.
The trial is moved from Graves County to Hickman County because of all of the media attention and how big this case was.
The Jessica Curran murder trial began early this morning here in Clinton, Kentucky, which allowed the prosecution to get right into laying their case against Quincy Omar Cross.
Jessica Curran was sexually assaulted and brutally murdered by the defendant, and I will ask you to find the defendant, Quincy Omar Cross, guilty.
Over the course of the next week, in a trial captured on sometimes grainy VHS tape, the prosecution calls more than 30 witnesses, starting with Jessica's family.
You recognize that as Jessica's shoe?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, these are hers.
People who were at the Chris Drive party testify about seeing Quincy wave his belt around and talk about wanting to go find girls.
I remember he swinging at me that night.
Quincy's defense points out that many people wore a similar belt.
A common belt.
Yes, sir.
Common belt back then.
Yes, sir, I suppose.
Other witnesses testify that Quincy Cross told them he was involved in Jessica's death.
And he's like, well, you told on me for killing that girl.
She overheard something that she wasn't supposed to hear, and we had to take care of that. We kind of brushed him off because we thought he's always talking big.
He said, I, which is Quincy Cross, killed Jessica Kern. And he said, if y'all say anything, that I'm gonna do you the same way I did her.
Quincy Cross would just kind of sit there in the courtroom like he wasn't really worried about it. And he wasn't scared or nothing. He's just relaxed.
Jessica's cousin, Venetia, who initially said Jessica had walked home, now testifies that she, Quincy, and others went to Jeffrey's house that night.
Jessica went in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
How did she get in the house?
He made her walk in there.
Venetia says that Quincy led Jessica inside and killed her.
Who killed Jessica Kern?
Quincy Cross.
How did he do that?
When I seen him, he was standing over with a belt in his hand around her neck.
But the star witness for the prosecution is Victoria Caldwell, who has been at the center of the case since the beginning.
Doris Victoria Caldwell.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was very nervous.
Victoria testifies over several days, saying that after they picked up Jessica, Quincy knocked Jessica unconscious in the car in the driveway of Jeffrey Burton's home.
Get out of the car. Quincy and carried Jessica's body to the side, the side door.
You told the jury that Jessica was strangled with a belt.
Yes. She just kept pulling on it. You could hear gasping for air.
It was hard for me to believe that they could have been that cold and callous.
Then, Victoria changes her story, now saying Quincy Cross struck Jessica twice, once with a bat, the second time with a ratchet wrench.
That's the tool that was used. It's a long tool, and in the middle has a little knob that makes a clicking noise.
Law enforcement officers say they find the object buried in Victoria's sister's yard.
How do you know that this is the same tool that was used to hit Jessica?
Because I'm the one who buried it.
Nobody mentioned the clicking ratchet until after it was found. They were always saying metal bat until the ratchet was found. Then all of a sudden, 2 days later, is the first mention of a metal ratchet with clicking sound. Isn't that amazing?
There are glaring inconsistencies in Victoria and Venetia's statements. Like, Venetia cannot confidently say if Quincy, Jeff, or Tamara struck Jessica with any object.
When we look at the totality of this case, we have independent corroboration. Talking to Victoria is consistent with the important areas of what Venetia said.
We're going to mainly look at the credibility of Victoria and Venetia. And there's no way they both can be telling the truth. They both admitted that they lied to the Commonwealth all the way up to the very end.
The defense strategy was to question the credibility of everything, from the circumstantial evidence to the prosecution's witness testimony.
You always told the case.
No.
You told the police that Jessica was murdered because she was going to tell Ronnie Lear's wife that he was sleeping with her, right?
I guess.
That was a lie too, was it not?
Yes.
There is no physical evidence that connects Quincy to Jessica, to that crime scene at the middle school.
When I spoke to Quincy on the phone, I asked him about Jessica's murder. Why would Victoria and Venetia point the finger at you?
Okay, I never knew Victoria. I never knew Venetia at the time, so I knew it was lying anyway.
The verdict is next, and what happens to those co-defendants?
They're going to do the same thing to me over a lie. How the hell is this happening?
And what those witnesses at the trial told me about their testimony. You're now saying that what you testified to in court was a lie.
On the day that the verdict came, I remember being outside with some family.
We thought on a capital murder case it would take a while, but it took very little time.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder under instruction number 7.
The jury deliberated only 3 hours and came back with a guilty verdict.
My whole family was devastated.
How is this real? Like, is this actually happening?
What went through your mind when you heard the word guilty?
Let me say, it was heartbreaking to be that person for one, and for the world to see that of me, and for the people that believe that. Oh man, that took me down to a dark place right there.
I was glad to see somebody, get punishment for it. I told them I didn't want to have a death penalty. I could do life without the possibility of parole, but I wouldn't do a death penalty.
After Quincy was convicted, everyone else who was going up for trial was terrified.
Well, certainly we were concerned after that guilty verdict.
At first I'm ready, gun-ho ready, and now I'm just like, they're going to do the same thing to me over a lie. How the hell is this happening?
I was like, they're going to kill me now. What is going on? They convict him, they definitely going to convict us.
Jeffrey and Tamara took plea deals for the lesser charge of manslaughter and the abuse of a corpse.
Jeff and Tamara both took what is called an Alford plea, and it's basically saying, I'm telling you I didn't do this, but I'm acknowledging that the state has enough evidence to convict me.
And I didn't know that they look at it as a guilty plea. But I'm scared that's what they done to Quincy over a lie. So I'm like, man, they're going to do the same thing to me. So I did like 7 years.
I took the Alford plea because my public defender said that I wouldn't get much time. I got 15 years, but I served 5 years, 8 months, and 2 days.
It was awful. I had to quit my job to take care of my daughter's kids. They asked for mama every day.
So when Jeff took that plea, he agreed to be a convicted felon.
Everything kind of fell apart after that.
The unthinkable thing happens to you, and then, people that don't know you think you're a murderer, you killed somebody.
Jeffrey's oldest daughter, Shyla, was just 7 years old when he went to prison. This is you visiting him in prison?
That's probably right after it happened. I was about, I would say 8 or 9 in that one, and still just trying to enjoy the moments.
Did anybody tell you why he was there?
No one told me specifically what had happened, but over the years I heard stuff, figured stuff out, and as I've gotten older, I totally get it. He's an innocent man and spent all this time in prison.
Did you ever wonder, maybe my dad did do this?
Never.
Never?
No.
Why not?
Because that's my dad. I know him, and he wouldn't hurt a fly.
For years, Quincy tried appealing his conviction to no avail, but he's now gained an army of advocates.
It's a very strong, supportive group of people who will not take no for an answer.
I just believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. My goal is to get Quincy Cross out.
He doesn't have a piece of evidence that links him toward anything.
But I know in my heart that he's innocent because there's nothing physical that puts him there. There's no DNA.
Quincy's supporters have worked to garner attention for his cause.
It was very exciting for me to be told that there was a podcast that was going to be done.
There is a new 6-part podcast, Bone Valley Season 3, Graves County, which explores the Jessica Curran case.
This is Graves County, Chapter 6, Something Rotten.
Now, more than 2 decades after the murder of Jessica Curran, the Kentucky Innocence Project has taken on Quincy's case.
There were a lot of markers of potential wrongful conviction. We believe we have the evidence to exonerate him and walk him out of prison. So that's our goal.
The Kentucky Innocence Project had their work cut out for them. It's very hard to get a conviction overturned in the state of Kentucky, or in most of the country, really. One of the many hurdles is that Quincy's attorneys have to present new evidence that points to his innocence.
They have filed a motion to vacate his conviction that includes new claims about those key witnesses at the trial.
Venetia Stubblefield and Victoria Caldwell in particular have said that they lied at the trial.
You're now saying that that story, that what you testified to in court, was a lie.
Yes, I didn't know nothing of that case. I didn't even know nothing about the murder even
So
being
why
took
did you
place.
say that?
Because I was forced to say it. That's the thing.
What did you say at the trial?
I was forced to say that Quincy Cross took part in it. I was forced to say that Jeffrey Burton and Tamara Caldwell had part in it, knowing that they didn't.
Were you, in fact, involved in that killing?
No, not at all.
How much of what you testified under oath was true and how much was not?
None of it was true.
Zero.
Zero. Nothing was true. I don't know nothing about this case. I wasn't there. I don't know all the people.
You testified about disturbing sexual acts involving Jessica's body. Did those take place?
No, not at all. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know anything at all.
But if it never happened, why provide such graphic detail?
Because they told me what to say.
In response to the motion, the state denies that witnesses were pressured to fabricate their stories or told what to say. They also point to this affidavit from 2016, where Victoria refutes that she lied at trial or was told to say something that wasn't true.
We never tried to get anybody to say anything that was not true.
Well, there's this thing called evidence. Justice and juries, and they weighed all the evidence, and Quincy's in prison. There's only been one conspiracy, and that's a conspiracy to kill Jessica Kern and to try to get away with it.
The state stands by Quincy's conviction. It argues that Victoria and Venetia's many lies to investigators were brought up at the trial and that a jury still convicted him. Why should we believe you now after all the lies you told?
I feel like I should believe because people who really know me know that I'm a genuine person. I would never put innocent people away. I would never do it.
Has anyone paid you or pressured you?
No, not
You're
at all.
doing this because?
I'm tired, and I think it's time for the truth to come out.
What would you say to them?
I would apologize to them, and I would tell them how sorry I am for them to get convicted.
But truly and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I hope that each and every one of y'all can forgive me.
Can you forgive them?
Most definitely, I can forgive him. I already forgave him.
Now, it all comes down to this. A court date just hours ago for a hearing that may lead to a new trial for Quincy.
And I have an interest in the truth coming out.
All right, KIP file room. I think it's probably in one of these working files. Yep, here's the KBI investigation. We are preparing to present all of the new evidence, the mountain of new evidence, all of the different pieces that we have uncovered since trial that is new, that we believe a jury should have heard. It's different, right?
It all comes down to this hearing in this makeshift courthouse.
It's a big deal, and for a long time we didn't have no voice.
The Innocence Project making their case for Quincy to get a new trial. This could be your last chance.
Hey, it's all right. Sometimes we deal cards that we got to play, you know. But I know that I've done no wrong.
I am anxious. I am hoping for the best.
There is a lot on the line today. it just potentially could free us, so to speak.
All rise.
Multiple witnesses and co-defendants gave perjured testimony that they have now recanted. And the now recanted statement is the only evidence that ever linked Mr. Cross to this crime.
I would just refer the court to the case law that recanted testimony after trial is viewed with distrust.
I know I'm going to have an evidentiary hearing. I'm going to focus only on the recantations of Venetia Stubblefield, Victoria Caldwell.
A major victory for Quincy and his supporters.
He did it for my brother, y'all.
We are very pleased with the judge's decision. We look forward to being able to put on the evidence in support of Quincy's innocence at the hearing.
Witnesses like Venetia and Victoria will be heard in person to tell their stories to the court. Also, what happened in the courtroom is the judge said, you know, if they get back up on the stand and say we lied, that's perjury. So that's a huge consideration for them.
And just outside the court, Jeff Burton on his knees, pleading with Venetia.
I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I've been through this and I'm so sorry.
And Venetia said, you know, they've ruined my life too. I will do the right thing.
I always said that through all of this, something good's got to come out of it.
You know each other?
Yes, sir. We know each other. How you doing?
Quincy's dad has an unlikely ally joining him in this fight.
This is very unusual. The father of the victim and the father of the man convicted of killing her joining forces, trying to get answers.
Everybody thinks that this is an odd couple. We're not an odd couple because we want the same thing. He wants justice for his daughter. I want justice for my son.
I just don't think he could do the stuff that was done.
Tragedy brought you together.
Tragedy brought us together, and it's gonna keep us together until we get what we need, justice. I can't say I feel his pain, but I know he feels my pain, and I feel some of his pain.
Do I think that Joe can find some comfort in knowing he helped Quincy? I think is the most that he can get.
We've suffered through it a long, long time. And we just don't feel like we have a completion. Justice for Jessica would be finding the real people that murdered her. Sometimes I do believe she's guiding me. I do believe that she wants me to stay on the case all the way to the end, till the truth comes out. My promise to her is I won't ever stop. I don't.
And I thought she was just seeing somebody else.
Urgent search for a missing mother in Nassau County.
What do you think happened to Joey? Well, she's hanging out with these bad dudes, bad crowd.
Sounds like she had trouble with figuring out men.
She did. First thought was the boyfriend, had done something.
And this is your opportunity here to clear your name, and you're acting like a jackass.
I had nothing to do with Jolene being missing. I love her. I miss her.
At some point, Jolene confides in you some thoughts, some suspicious.
It is the actual moment where we perceived we are looking at something more sinister. Who is that figure that walks across in the darkness?
You could see them walk around the building just as I did, and then they go ahead and enter the building.
No one had any idea how truly unhinged that she was.
When I saw the video, hair on the back of my neck stand up moment.
Nestled on the tip of Amelia Island sits North Florida's Fernandina Beach. With its shrimp boats bobbing in the harbor next to oak-shaded streets, both tourists and locals come to savor the island life.
I would describe Fernandina Beach as a small area that a lot of people come to visit. It's very welcoming.
It's kind of like a hippie beach town. We have a shrimp drop where we have a big lit up shrimp, and they drop it just like they do New Year's at the ball with the ball. You have all the pirate ships.
There's even Pippi Longstocking's house is down in Old Town.
That house was made famous in the 1988 film The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking, based on the children's book.
Hello. Come on, Pippi.
Our crime rate in Nassau County is very low when you compare to our surrounding areas.
But on Mother's Day in May of 2018, Jolene Cummings, a single mom of 3, never arrives to pick up her children from her ex-husband, Jason Cummings. Evening is now falling over northern Florida, and Jolene's 2 young sons are waiting in a grocery store parking lot with their dad. The minutes tick by, but their mom never arrives to pick them up.
And it was her birthday, and it was Mother's Day weekend. She always wanted to spend that time with her kids.
What were her plans as far as you knew?
It would have been the first time that she would have been able to celebrate Mother's Day and her birthday with the boys, and she would be at my house.
Why in the world would this mom suddenly disappear on such a big day? Those close to her say that as a young, working, single mother, Jolene would often feel overwhelmed and take off, making time for herself. Might she have just gone off and done something without telling you?
Has Jolene gone off in the past? Oh, yes. Have I been able to contact her? Yes.
Did you have a feeling?
Yeah, not hearing from Jolene on Mother's Day, on her birthday. Yes, I had this gut-wrenching feeling all day. And I told my husband, I need to call this in. He said, no, Aunt, wait till tomorrow. So at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, I called.
8:08 a.m., Ann Johnson contacted the sheriff's office and reported that her adult daughter, Jolene Cummings, was missing. She stated that no one had heard from Jolene for at least 2 days. I was named the lead investigator on this case. It was urgent to me from the start. While it's certainly not uncommon for an adult to, go missing or take off for a couple of days, there were some things that really concerned Miss Johnson about it.
Her daughter would have spent Saturday at the Tangles hair salon where she had worked for 6 years.
So Tangles is a salon that's right on the edge of Yulee and Fernandina Beach. It's in a shopping center. There are multiple chairs, multiple stylists working there, day in and day out.
Hi, ladies.
Hey.
I'm Deborah.
I'm Brittany.
Brittany, nice to meet you.
I'm Jill.
Hey, Jill.
Nice
to meet you.
She was my hairdresser. That's how we met.
Somebody said that she was kind of a hairapist.
Yeah.
Like a therapist, but doing hair.
Yeah, absolutely, because she would always give you the best advice.
Now, what was she like as a mom? Because on the one hand, she had this creative career, but then she was also a pretty young mom.
She was there to support them. I think she grew up and she didn't get to do the things that other kids got to do sometimes. So she really wanted to make sure her daughter did everything that she didn't get to do.
Those boys and her daughter were just the love of her life. The place that she was living in was my brother-in-law's. It wasn't the best, but she was saving to move.
I wanted to go to Jolene's home to find out where she lived and to see if there were any clues there, anything there that might give me an idea where she might be. Jolene's stepfather gave me access to the home. When I went inside, there were cabinets that were hanging by one hinge. It appeared as if somebody had actually punched and kicked holes in the wall. This evidence was very worrisome for a person who's gone missing.
It's clearly a disturbing and suspicious scene, and there's one person investigators want to talk to, Jolene's ex-husband, Jason Cummings.
Anytime someone goes missing, you have a list of people that you probably want to talk to. Exes are always at the top of that list.
Jason and Jolene had somewhat of a rocky relationship.
There was an injunction in place between Jolene and her ex-husband, a no violence injunction that said there'd be no violence between the two individuals. Jason he made it obvious that it was contentious about custody of kids, that the court had not decided yet.
Texts between the former couple reveal a volatile relationship, with Jolene once writing, "These kids have seen and heard enough," and Jason responding, "See you in court, Jolene." And in another text, Jason writes, "I hate you, and tomorrow you will hate me. I promise that."
They still had an amicable relationship. They worked together for the love of the children.
We wanted to talk to him, see if he knows anything, knows about where she may be or has seen her.
I made contact with Jason Cummings via phone. I scheduled him to come in the next morning to do an interview at the sheriff's office.
It's now Tuesday, 2 days since Jolene was last seen, and her ex-husband, Jason Cummings, is sitting in the Nassau County Sheriff's Office with Detective Harrington.
She is my ex-wife. I love her. I mean, she's my kid's mom.
Telling him how Jolene's happy exterior hid a darker side of her personality.
She's angry most of the time, but she's also happy as it. She's the type of woman that wouldn't let you know. You could see it on her face, but she wouldn't tell you what was bothering her.
When Jason Cummings is answering these questions, he did let police know that it wasn't uncommon for Jolene to sometimes disappear without explanation.
But I was like, look, you need to get it together. You know, this right here is the reason why I left her, because she would disappear for a few days. She started doing her little Houdini acts, and I thought she was just seeing somebody else.
Jason Cummings let police know that he had an alibi for the day that Jolene went missing. He was with the kids, and he had his parents that he was around who could verify that.
And where did you go with that when you left there? Kids ate, we all ate. Granny and Papa, while they were getting ready for church, me and the kids went out there and there were the floor or something.
The dad of Jolene's two youngest kids then steers investigators in a completely different direction, mentioning somebody else close to his ex-wife.
He said, if you're gonna look at anybody, you need to look at this new guy she's dating. He's not a good guy.
She's hanging out with these bad dudes, bad crowd.
Now, the Dolly Parton song comes to mind when I hear Jolene. Did that have any impact on your naming her?
Yeah, it was because of that song.
Jolene, Jolene, Jolene.
Dolly Parton's song is Jolene. And I found the Joleen, which meant pretty. That fit her because when she was born, she had the eyes of green and her hair was auburn.
Skin and eyes of emerald green.
Urgent search for a missing mother in Nassau County.
Our Julia Janae is live at the state attorney's office.
At the time of Jolene Cummings' disappearance, I was an investigative reporter for First Coast News, the ABC affiliate there in Jacksonville. The mother of Jolene Cummings, who said she's heartbroken.
We will continue to search for Jolene. We have searched for her utilizing all of our resources, including canines, horses, and boats.
People are talking about it like crazy. They're asking questions. They're wanting answers.
So days go by, nothing. What are you thinking?
It was the most horrible time of my life. I was searching, friends were searching, my husband was searching with me.
Constant alerts on the news and that she was being searched for. People were asked to keep an eye out for Jolene's vehicle.
Those with any information about where Cummings is urged to call the Nassau County Sheriff's Office.
What did you think?
I just stopped. I was frozen. I didn't know what to think.
And I thought that this is not my Jolene. This has to be somebody else. And then I went online to look it up, and sure enough, it was her picture, and I just had a sinking feeling.
Now, detectives are ready to interview their very first person of interest, and that would be Jolene's ex-husband, Jason Cummings. These two had a volatile relationship.
What do you think happened to Jolene? Me personally, I hope that she's don't want to be found, and now she's got all this attention on her, she's probably scared. Is that your hope, or is that your thought? That's what is my hope.
But while he's in the hot seat, Cummings tells Detective Harrington that he should be looking at another Jason in Jolene's life.
I just know his first name's Jason. I've never met him. I got text messages from other people saying he's bad news.
When I asked him about, why he was so concerned about this person, he just said that he had a criminal history. He was very concerned about Jolene and more specifically being around a type of person like that.
Maybe she'll pop up any minute and say, hey, you're here. I hope we're spending a lot of time for, no reason. While she's hanging out with these bad dudes, bad crowd, she shouldn't be doing this crap.
After police completed their questioning,
I appreciate it.
Jason Cummings was able to leave the Nassau County Sheriff's Office.
After checking out Jason Cummings' alibis, he was cleared of any wrongdoing. The next person of interest that we wanted to look at is her current boyfriend, who she had broken up with, Jason G.
When Jolene had gone missing, I had heard that she had had a boyfriend who was not the best of news.
It sounds like while she might have been bright and airy, she had trouble with figuring out men.
She did. She had been married and divorced. A boyfriend, I believe he's had kind of some trouble with the law.
A record.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Jolene also liked the underdog. Irrelevant what their past was.
Jolene wanted to fix people, and I think that's really why she dated him.
Jason G had a outstanding warrant from Nassau County. As a matter of fact, it was a felony warrant for a violation of probation, and he was wanted by the Nassau County Sheriff's Office.
But he wasn't a stranger to law enforcement.
He had previously had arrests for drug offenses, for domestic.
Jason G was in fact convicted of several drug offenses, but not that alleged domestic violence charge. That was dropped.
There was a report also with Jolene and Jason G getting into an altercation, a domestic violence situation at their home a couple days prior to this.
Jason G had come over to the house and had wanted to spend the night with Jolene. Jolene was concerned it would cause problems with her divorce. Jason G got very angry to the point that he started destroying items in the house.
For investigators, Jolene's allegations explain all that physical damage they saw inside her home.
Next on their list, police are really eager to talk to Jason G, but he is nowhere to be found.
We had a difficult time. We looked, it took a little while to track Jason G down. It appeared from, trying to check his cell phone that he was only turning it on occasionally when he needed to, and that he was turning it off so that he couldn't be tracked. I don't think he was staying in one location very long.
He didn't have a means of transportation, so we knew he was probably in the Hilliard area. However, his parents lived in Jacksonville on the north side.
With all that, we did get a warrant to try to locate him by pinging his phone. He was found hiding under a bunch of cardboard boxes in a bedroom. So it was very, very suspicious to us. He was a prime suspect when we did the interview.
When the interrogation of Jason G starts, it begins with the detective keeping his tone pretty calm, his demeanor pretty calm.
Can we go just kind of back to the beginning and tell me, how you guys got together, where you met?
That's a little over a year ago. We went to school together and didn't never know each other, but I went over to a party and we, just got together and just clicked.
But now cops are ready to take off the kid gloves. The temperature inside of that interrogation room heats up.
You're hiding now.
I just found out about Jolene being missing yesterday. Honestly, though, I would never hurt her.
But it's time up for Jason G. Detectives see something that makes them wonder whether he had gone one step too far.
You got some scratches on your wrist and everything.
To me, they looked a lot like fingernail scratches, which really, really concerned me.
This is your opportunity here to clear your name, and you're acting like a jackass.
So things aren't looking so good for Jason G. But then, a new piece of evidence emerges that just deepens this mystery.
We want to know, who is that figure that walks across in the darkness?
Mother of three, Jolene Cummings, has seemingly vanished from her North Florida town, setting off alarm bells within the small community.
The hairdresser community was really just completely in shock. Watching Jolene's disappearance play out on TV, it was stressful.
She never showed up to pick up her kids yesterday on Mother's Day.
Cummings was last seen leaving work at the Tangles Hair Salon on Saturday around 5 p.m.
Florida's Nassau County Sheriff's investigators are racing against the clock to figure out what happened to the hairdresser. Remember, they've got her ex-boyfriend Jason G. under arrest in an unrelated case, and he's being interrogated.
When we find Jason G. and he's brought in for the interview, I mean, we're really looking at him as, this is probably our suspect.
You always want to give someone the benefit of a doubt just because of their history, but with everything involved, it just seemed like a pretty good suspect to look at the time.
Do me a favor, let me hold your hands up like this. He had marks on his hands and his arms. To me, they looked a lot like fingernail scratches, which really, really concerned me. You got some scratches on your wrist and everything. Tell me about those.
We had a dog I played with at the house.
They are really looking closely to see, could this have been a struggle with a person?
I got one there from the dental branches at my dad's that happened like a week ago.
Detective Harrington asks about that alleged domestic violence incident and the disturbing scene at Jolene's home.
He stated that the last time he saw Jolene was when he was at the house and the altercation occurred. And I went over there to see what was in the house. There was some cabinets broken, there was some holes and stuff. Did that happen that night?
I had slammed the cabinet shut when we was arguing.
And what about there was some holes in the door?
She actually took a hammer to this hand door. And we were arguing. That was 4 or 5 months ago.
During the interrogation, Jason G. tells the detectives that he lost his phone. Now that's a red flag for detectives. They're thinking, oh, come on, who doesn't have their phone with them all the time these days?
Well, it's time for you to come clean and tell us what you did with it.
I didn't do nothing with it.
Then where's your phone?
It's at my cousin's or my dad's. Where I've been at.
Which one is it?
Jason G has an answer for why he doesn't have his cell phone, because he's actually been trying to run from police and doesn't want them to ping his phone because of that outstanding parole violation warrant.
I told you, the reason I was on the high, I didn't want to come to jail. Ever since I've had this warrant, I've had my battery taken out of my phone. I had nothing to do with this. I've been working on it with y'all. I told y'all can call my cousin and my dad, they will tell you where I've been at the past 3 days.
Jason G says that he has an alibi for where he was, and not just for the day that Jolene went missing, but the entire weekend.
He had stated he was having a barbecue down in North Jacksonville.
I went to sleep, I slept till about 10 or 11. We went back over there and hung out the rest of the day. They stayed there till Sunday. I went home Sunday night.
Maybe Jason G does come across as volatile, a little rough around the edges. But Detective Harrington notices that when G talks about Jolene, he's calmer. His voice softens.
I wouldn't hurt her. I wouldn't cause any harm or any discomfort to her. Well, I texted her later that night and tried to get hold of her. Then I texted her Sunday morning and told her Happy Mother's Day and Happy Birthday.
I gotta tell you, I'm not buying what you tell me.
I know you ain't believing that. I said, but I'm telling you the truth, man. I had nothing to do with Jolene being missing. I love her. I miss her. I want her to be okay.
He no way convinced me after the interview that he was innocent, but in the back of my mind, I did think he seemed like he really was concerned about Jolene's well-being and whereabouts.
Police take more pictures and then book G on the probation violation charge, but he's still only a suspect in Jolene's disappearance.
In the Nassau County Sheriff's Office, they take the approach of getting the public involved. They start putting out the flyers with her picture on it.
Press release was stating that Jolene Cummings was missing. It also described her vehicle, a gold tan in color Ford Expedition with a tag number.
It was sent out to local news media. We just want to saturate the area.
Now at 11, a renewed push in the search for a missing local mother.
The Nassau County Sheriff's Department put out a Facebook post asking anyone with information about her whereabouts.
Investigators have put out a BOLO. Now that's cop speak for be on the lookout for. And guess what? One observant tipster calls in to say he thinks that he's seen an SUV just like Jolene's sitting in a local Home Depot parking lot.
The day after we put the bolo out, I got a call from a citizen that thought he had seen it here in the parking lot. We responded here immediately and did determine by both tag and VIN that it was indeed Jolene's vehicle. One of the first things I noticed was that the driver's door was unlocked. All the other doors were locked. Just looking at it from outside, I didn't notice anything obvious. I didn't notice any blood, any damage. Once we located the vehicle outside the Home Depot, I instructed several detectives to start canvassing the area to see if there was any video surveillance.
There is a ViStar credit union that I had worked off duty at. I knew that their cameras faced in that direction.
That credit union surveillance camera captures investigative gold and leads to the second big break in the case.
When we looked at the camera angles, we determined that shortly after 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, the vehicle comes up the approach road off of State Road 200 from the direction of the salon and is immediately pulled into the parking area. You cannot see who's driving it at that point in time. And then you can see a figure emerge and walk across the screen towards the right.
Everyone is hoping that it's Jolene getting out of that car. Then, a minute later, a figure is visible in the doorway of a nearby convenience store.
It was kind of like that hair on the back of my neck stand-up moment because I was like, this is who I'm looking for.
Hairdresser and mom Jolene Cummings has been missing for 3 days now, and Florida's Nassau County Sheriff's detectives are working several leads. One of them is Jolene's ex-boyfriend, Jason G., who tells police he's got an alibi. He says he was at a barbecue all weekend.
Jason told us where he had been and who he had been with, but his story checked out. He ultimately was cleared.
Now that Jolene's former boyfriend and her ex-husband are cleared, they're out of the picture, police are laser focused on that Home Depot parking lot footage. It's the shadowy image, a person emerging from the area near Jolene's SUV.
We want to know who is that figure that walks across in the darkness.
Once Jolene's vehicle is discovered, police look through it to see if there are any clues as to her whereabouts.
Breaking developments in the case of a missing Nassau County mother last seen on Saturday when she left her job at a hair salon. Today, her vehicle found in the parking lot of a Home Depot.
Earlier that day, investigators visited Jolene's workplace, Tangle Salon, where one of her co-workers, they've been told, was the last person to see Jolene the night before Mother's Day.
You always want to know, in a missing persons case, the last person to see the victim, and that was an individual, a co-worker by the name of Jennifer Seibert.
Jennifer Seibert had been working at the Tangle's hair salon for a couple of months. Jennifer Seibert did come with this air of mystery.
And they didn't have a whole lot of background information on her other than what was on her application.
What did you know of her?
I didn't know anything of her. She was just a newcomer.
Now, the very moment that investigators arrive at the salon to ask questions, Jennifer Seibert pulls up into the parking lot for her shift. But then, she does something rather suspicious.
When Miss Seibert learned that there was a detective there at the business, she immediately leaves the parking lot and does not come back and go to work.
At that moment, we're thinking, why would she not want to tell us anything about her coworker?
Yeah.
Why would she
honestly,
leave?
at the time, I think it was more of a red flag to you than me. It was kind of a red flag, but she kind of was like, that's really, really strange.
Jennifer Seibert even tells her boss to not bother to keep her check there, that she should just mail it to a forwarding address.
Seibert also sends a text with an explanation for why she bolted. She claims she was fearful of an ex-partner. She even writes, "My ex is terrible. When it comes to him, I fear for my life."
Jennifer Seibert was not eager to speak to us and left a long, rambling telephone message telling us why she wanted to help, but she couldn't be a part of this investigation, basically because her life was in danger.
From the moment that police see the vehicle of Jolene Cummings parked in that parking lot, they are canvassing the area. They really want to know who got out of that car when it was parked.
Once we observed the surveillance video of the person exiting, we could tell which direction they walked in. The only place that would have probably been open at that time would have been this convenience store. The first camera that I picked the person up on would have been here. And you could see them walk around the building just as I did. Then they walk down and they actually stop here for a minute and address the clerk that's standing outside on a break. And then they go ahead and enter the building.
The video from inside the convenience store is a big break. Who is it that walks in?
When I saw that, it was kind of like that hair on the back of my neck stand-up moment, because I was like, this is who I'm looking for.
The person who walks through the front door is Jennifer Seibert.
And she's dressed in all black, she's got on combat boots, and she seems really chatty with the attendant while she's there.
I conducted an interview with a store employee who was working there as well. There was a female that came into the store the other night, right here.
Yes, she said something about how she was out with a couple of friends drinking. When I tried to go back inside to go back to working, she wanted me to stay around.
He said that she was acting as if she was nervous or scared about something. She asked him to call a taxi cab for her.
We were able to capture a video surveillance that actually shows the taxi cab pull up. It pulls into a spot just over here in front of the store. You could see her enter the vehicle in the front passenger seat, and you could see the cab pull away.
We were able to not only determine who the cab driver was, but interview him. What do you recall about that person?
She was dressed in like a black workout outfit. She had black hair, had it up in a bun on her head. She didn't appear to have a purse or anything on her.
What stood out to me and the cab driver was that Jennifer Seibert had stated that she had been out with friends that didn't have enough money for gas, but yet she had prepaid for the cab ride on a credit card.
I found that kind of odd, because if a person's prepaying $20 on a credit card, they should be able to give somebody $5 worth of gas and get a ride.
The location that the cab driver was asked to take Jennifer Seibert was of interest to detectives because it wasn't exactly where she worked, the Tangle Salon, but it was in the same shopping center.
He dropped her off by a small black vehicle, which we knew that was what Jennifer Seibert owned and drove every day to work.
At that point in time, our number one priority is to find Jennifer Seibert, who is now purposely evading us.
But there's just one major problem. Police can't find Seibert. The address on her Tangle's job application isn't even real.
I went to that location, and what I discovered is that it is a non-existent address. It's a fake address. This is the fake address that Jennifer Seibert has given in her application for employment. Just nothing here. There's no residences, nothing. And it became apparent to me that this was something amiss.
Where is Jennifer Seibert? Investigators race to find her. Will they also find Jolene?
Cummings has not been seen since Mother's Day weekend, and investigative reporter Julia Janae joins us now with more. Julia?
Heather, that video that was released shows the missing SUV of Cummings being driven what appears to be Jennifer Seibert.
So once they look at that video, who walks through the doors of Gate gas station but Jennifer Seibert? And she's dressed in all black.
But so far, police have had no luck tracking down the mysterious woman. Small hair salons are known to be warm, friendly places. But at Tangle's in northern Florida, the newest employee, Jennifer Seibert, didn't exactly fit in.
Everyone would talk with each other. It was just a very cozy, friendly environment to be in.
So all the hairdressers seemed to get along. And then all of a sudden, there was a new woman.
So I never really got to know her well. She was kind of standoffish.
Within a few weeks of Jennifer being there, they started to notice things that they thought were off. about Jennifer, just the way she acted. She could never really give an address of where she lived.
Jolene had a lot of concern about Jennifer Seibert's background. I did an interview with Ashley Nunley, who Jolene had styled her hair the day before she went missing.
She goes, because there's something just weird. Jolene says she started wearing wigs when she first started. Jolene says she was going to look up her name and figure out what the heck was going on with her.
Knowing Jolene, she's not going to leave something alone until she gets an answer that she can believe.
It turns out the questions about Jennifer Seibert's background, her behavior, also dogged her at a previous beauty salon where she worked in nearby Yulee.
She definitely had extremes in behavior. She would be so upbeat, or if she was mad, it was almost like seething mad. If she would get mad at a client, I would see her sit there and grip the back of the chair and like white knuckle it.
My stylists were complaining that they did not want to work with her. I did find a reason to fire her. She had all her stuff packed, leaving. So I followed her out the front door and asked her for the keys back. And she took them off her key ring and she threw them at me. That was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 9 o'clock at night, she was still sitting in her car in the parking lot. That was a little bit creepy. And I actually did make sure that no one was following me home. She didn't follow me home.
The last known place that Jolene Cummings had been seen was Tangle's Hair Salon. We made a determination, we need to go back to the salon.
To the naked eye, there wasn't a whole lot out of place.
Traditionally, Jolene Cummings sat in the break room at the very back by the bathroom. I was looking with my flashlight at the edge of the sink, which was perfectly clean, and as I looked down, I saw what looked to me to be a dilute blood ring.
So we had our crime scene unit go back and do a forensic examination of the entire salon with what's called either Blue Star or luminol, which creates a chemical reaction with blood, and it will fluoresce or glow. Basically, the whole salon lit up. There was blood everywhere that was obviously had been cleaned up. You could see mop marks on the floor in blood.
Now the police have this disturbing discovery of the blood spatter inside of the salon. The search for Jennifer Seibert, it becomes much more urgent.
She basically went to number one on the radar that we got to find out where she is. We did have a phone number for her that was provided on her application, so we started pinging that phone. Started looking at like beach areas where they had the showers, rest stops, different places where somebody who might not have a permanent place to live might be.
On Wednesday, we got an updated ping that said that she was in a rest area in St. Johns County, roughly 35 miles south, closer to St. Augustine.
6 detectives and myself and the 2 FBI agents went to the northbound rest stop in St. Johns County.
The rest area was under construction, and it was just confusion. Dark, semis roaring around.
When I came to the rest area on the northbound side, I saw a black Kia Soul sitting between 2 semi-trucks. I called another detective and told him, hey, I believe this is Jennifer Seibert's car.
There was exhaust vapor coming out of the tailpipe of the vehicle, so I knew it was running.
I was a little worried about approaching the vehicle because I didn't know who was in the vehicle, if they had a weapon.
I had my flashlight. I then observed an individual who was laying down in the back of the vehicle get up and slither through the 2 front seats and drop into the driver's seat. I remember repeatedly stating, do not put the vehicle in drive. She had her driver's license ready. It was Jennifer Seibert.
Once Jennifer got out of the vehicle, I identified myself to her and told her that I was investigating Jolene's disappearance. She reiterated to me that she had no idea where Jolene was at. At that point in time, I asked her, I said, you've never been in her vehicle, you have no reason to drive her vehicle? And she answered no. I knew that she was lying to me because I had her on surveillance video parking Jolene's vehicle near the Home Depot in Yulee.
Detective Harrington is heading out to a local judge's home. he's got to get an arrest warrant for grand theft auto for Jolene's SUV. But somebody has to keep an eye on Jennifer Seibert to make sure she does not bolt.
My captain informed me, he says, I want you to keep her occupied. You are not to interrogate her, just talk to her.
Well, where would you shower?
At the gym. I'm going to take a break from body pump and just stick with the cycle classes for a while.
And the curious thing to me was she never once asked, what is this about? She never once asked, am I free to leave?
And mosquitoes a problem at rest areas?
Oh my goodness. When the mosquito bites me, it just takes probably almost an entire month for that one mosquito bite to heal.
But it's not mosquito bites on Seibert's face that are getting the attention of detectives.
She had claw marks on her face. She had Band-Aids on her face. It looked like to me that she had been in one hell of a fight.
Back at the station, she appears oddly relaxed and in a good mood when she's talking to officers, not the suspect of this intense missing person search.
She was very open, communicative, actually laughing, joking.
Those hurting you?
No, they feel great. You can put them on cider if you want. Whatever you want to do.
But nobody could have guessed what would turn up in Seibert's background and just how entangled her past was.
It was bigger than I imagined.
It was like flipping a switch.
This is a woman who was reported missing by her own mother decades before this happened in 2004.
I had two IDs at the time. I had myself and then my other ID.
And once detectives start digging into the background of this woman, they discover she's not at all who she claims to be on a number of levels. In fact, she had been using up to 18 different aliases and had lived in over 30 cities.
No one had any idea how truly just unhinged that she was.
And there's more surveillance video of Jennifer Seibert, but will it reveal the fate of missing hairstylist Jolene Cummings?
Do you think it was a conspiracy or a lone gunman?
To me, it's a much bigger story than the Kennedy murder.
Is this mystery ever going to get solved?
Who killed JFK? Monday night on ABC.
This was the most bizarre.
Very diabolic.
Truly unhinged.
Watching Jolene's disappearance play out on TV was stressful.
Missing mother in Nassau County.
Jolene Cummings was dangerously close to discovering that Jennifer Seibert was not Jennifer Seibert.
Jolene said there's something going on with her. I'm gonna find out.
She had stolen the dead child's information and created a false identity.
She took that name out of the cemetery.
She had 17 different names. She lived in 14 states.
How do you even wrap your mind around that?
She was an angel one second and then getting in a fight with somebody the next.
Definitely not a normal thing for a person to go and buy a carving knife in the evening of a random Friday night.
My God, what is she up to?
You'd think she's done this before.
There is no doubt in my mind.
She's saying that she's Kimberly Kessler, but how do we know what the truth is?
Well, it was her birthday and it was Mother's Day. And I wanted her to be reminded that she was my special blessing on a Mother's Day, a gift that no other could compete. And then text her that Saturday and, hey, did you get the angel?
And that was the last text. Ann Johnson's daughter, 34-year-old Jolene Cummings, has been missing for 4 days now, and police have found no sign of the hairstylist. They've questioned and cleared both her ex-husband and former boyfriend in her disappearance.
Crime scene detectives went to Tango Salon to look a little closer.
You could see that there had been a struggle and smears of blood all over the salon.
Now we know there must have been a big fight in that salon.
You always want to know, in a missing persons case, the last person to see the victim, and that was a coworker by the name of Jennifer Seibert.
Jennifer Seibert became the focus of the investigation after she was spotted on surveillance footage, abandoning Jolene's vehicle in a parking lot and then walking into a convenience store to call for a taxi. Detectives managed to track her down and arrest her.
The charge you were arrested on is a grand theft auto charge. You knew that, correct?
Yes.
You're not charged with anything else, okay? But something happened to Jolene.
Right out of the gate, Jennifer Seibert sits down in this interrogation room and she drops this mind twister on detectives. She tells them that her name isn't actually Jennifer Seibert.
Fingerprints, they come up as Kimberly Lee Kessler, so I would prefer to be called Kim. The last time I got picked up was back in 1999 and I bonded out.
So you've actually kind of got you've got a history under that name?
I'm ready to go back to being myself. Kimberly Lee Kessler. It's kind of a silly middle name, isn't it? It's like my mom stuttered.
So right now we were taking in who is Kimberly Kessler at this point.
I'm 50 years old. My looks are deceiving.
You have any children?
I do. I have a son. That's what got me running in 1999. Child Protective Services snatched him while I was at work from the babysitter, and that really sent me over the edge.
Then there's this next shocking moment where she tells detectives that she dated someone who was wanted by the FBI.
He robbed banks. I was working as a topless dancer, and he was with me whenever he called somebody and they said, the FBI is looking for you. And he's like, oh my God. And then he tells me everything. Oh, I robbed these banks. So I'm like, you what? And I hid him in my apartment, and that was like kind of almost the beginning.
She loved to brag about her past, and she was very proud of that.
She had been running for the past 20, 25 years and didn't want to be found.
It's a bombshell, but is it true? Are you okay if I ask my crime analyst to run the name?
Do it, please. You'll see my mug. I'll look a lot younger then. And thinner, too. I won't be 200 pounds.
Well, it's unusual when someone that is a person of interest is just joking around, acting like nothing's wrong, nothing's going on. And
during the interview, I kind of wanted to let her talk as much as she wanted to, but at some point in time, I knew I had to ask her about Jolene. Did you guys ever hang out after work? Did you ever go anywhere together? She ever allowed to use your car?
No.
Her demeanor changed. She became evasive.
You accused me the other night of, you're like, where's Jolene at? So, and I do not know where she is.
I think you know where Jolene is. We're gonna find out what happened. You can help me do that.
No, I cannot. Whatever fury may come. So let me reply this way, and you may not like the answer. I would like legal counsel.
With Jennifer Seibert now refusing to talk, it's up to investigators to determine fact from fiction.
Who is she really? I mean, she's saying that she's Kimberly Kessler, but how do we know what the truth is? I mean, she's obviously very complex.
When they researched her background, they found out she was actually someone who had been reported as a missing person decades before, in 2004, by her own mother in Butler, Pennsylvania.
So detectives call Connie Kessler, who they believe to be Kimberly's mother, hoping to learn more.
We do have someone that is claiming to be Kimberly Kessler, and that is your daughter, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last time I heard from her was in 2004, and it was on an answering machine. She'd been having trouble with her boss, and then there was no way to get back in touch with her, so all I could do is wait.
Detectives are quickly discovering that the woman they have in custody, claiming to be Kimberly Kessler, has used a host of different aliases over the years, seemingly random names. But Connie Kessler adds yet another twist to this increasingly strange story, explaining how her daughter had allegedly picked one of those names.
She went to visit her dad at a cemetery. She picked the name off from a little girl that died near her father.
Do you know the name she picked?
Yeah, she used it. It was Pamela Jean Cleaver.
she could be anybody. So we conducted a DNA test.
The FBI actually took a DNA out of Kimberly Kessler's mother's home, and it came back that it was a match, that she was Kimberly Kessler.
Well, if that's the case, then who exactly is Jennifer Seibert? And once again, Detective Rose discovers there was an absolutely chilling answer to that question.
Found a little girl named Jennifer Seibert who was 13 years old, who had been killed in a car accident in Germany. However, she was buried in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then NCIS confirmed the social security number of Jennifer Seibert. And that's when we realized
She had stolen the dead child's information and created a false identity.
The night when I told her you're under arrest for grand theft auto, she almost smiled as if to say, is that all?
Police are just scratching the surface in their search for a missing mom, and now they're about to dig up a tangled tale of chaos beyond what they could have ever imagined.
I saw something about stabbing you in the leg. Can you tell me about that?
In hindsight, I should have ran.
With Jolene Cummings still missing, police are learning more about the woman they've got in custody. Turns out her name isn't Jennifer Seibert, it's actually Kimberly Kessler. And the more they unravel, the more complicated her past becomes.
Come to find out, she had 17 different names. She lived in 14 states. Very unusual for someone to have that track record and is not running from something.
During the next couple weeks, I conducted several audio interviews.
We had to try to figure out who we actually had in our jail. So we're just trying to get whatever information we can.
We discovered a husband. She had been married. When I spoke to him, he said, I met her in Arizona. She was stripping during that time.
Well, I can tell you she's a master of disguises. She wears a lot of wigs and changes her look a lot.
You know, she did wear a lot of wigs.
Did she?
Very exotic.
He knew her as Melissa McKernan.
So I have Melissa tattooed across my chest.
So he was kind of shocked whenever we told him, hey, you know, this is not Melissa McKernan. Her true name was Kimberly Kessler.
Oh, hell no. I was like, he don't even have a real name on his chest.
But going back to the 1980s, Kimberly Kessler was just this small town girl living in Butler County, Pennsylvania.
Kimmy, you know, that's what they called her. Short-haired, tomboy, cute little young lady.
So you did know her?
I guess she knew me. She was good friends with a cousin of mine. The girls would all ride horses and that together. I met her a few times through the girls. I guess she had like a little schoolgirl crush on me or something.
She has a past with other people from high school.
Kim was a year behind me in high school. I was class of 85, she was class of 86. She was a cheerleader, you know.
Tom Sims hadn't seen her for years while he'd been in the Army. And then one day, their paths crossed again.
I stopped in the bar to have a beer and she was working. She was blonde and fit and beautiful. And we went out for drinks and yeah.
They eventually end up dating and living together.
Can you tell me some more about her?
She's got a handful.
She wasn't a friendly person, always scheming. She was an angel one second and then getting in a fight with somebody the next.
Was that a normal thing for her, like acting out and being violent?
Yeah.
One of her moods got me with a steak knife.
I saw something about stabbing you in the leg.
No, she stabbed me in the chest. She bit my dad in the leg.
She bit your dad in the leg?
Yes.
She attacked him, bit him on the leg. Oh, you should have seen it. It was a huge bite mark.
It was the day after she hit me with the iron piece off the gas stove.
She grabbed off, you know, the burner and hit me upside the head with it. I think she already had her escape planned because she was gone after that. Gone.
Tom Sims says police came to the house for each violent incident. When Kessler stabbed him, when she bit his father, when she struck him with that iron grill. But he never pressed charges against her.
I probably should have. Young and naive.
But about a year later in 1990, Kessler was back, and she wants to catch up. Sims would later tell police about a troubling conversation that he says he had with her.
We had a cat. His name was Malcolm. That cat and I were very attached. She's the greatest cat in the world. I asked her, where's my cat? And she's like, well, I couldn't take him with me, so I had to kill him.
Did she say how she did that?
She shot him with a shotgun.
I saw no empathy. I was absolutely sick to my stomach. And then she disappeared again.
Kessler has never responded to those allegations. But while Sims only knew her as Kimberly Kessler, there are plenty of others who knew her by entirely different names, including Sergeant Jim Walters back in Virginia Beach in 1999.
I knew it wasn't Christina Brooks that I was talking to, but that was the name she gave me.
It was a very bizarre situation in Virginia Beach. She lived with the father of her child, and a neighbor saw her digging in the yard with the kid in the hole, and she said it was a grave that she was digging, and she was acting very bizarrely. So the neighbor called the Child Welfare Services, and they came and took the child.
On August the 3rd, 1999, I received a call that there was a disorderly, suspicious person at social services, and we spoke real quickly, and I asked her to leave.
That's when we followed Christina Brooks out and stopped her on the other side of the bus stop.
Sergeant Walters says he's never forgotten what he says he discovered in her purse.
A Smith & Wesson .357 Magnum, a taser, and a roll of duct tape. We call it a kidnap kit.
Sergeant Walters arrests Christina Brooks for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit.
Found out later that she was released on her recognizance, and of course, gone. It gave me chills. My God, what is she up to?
Turns out she was up to a lot. Remember that childhood friend, David Trempis? By 2018, he was living in San Antonio when he says he got a message on Facebook from a woman in Florida.
I got a friend request from Mia Stone, and I accepted it.
She told David Trempis that she wanted to help him out. He was kind of going through a custody battle with his child.
She's real persistent. I told her, well, if I ever come down to Florida, I'd meet you. And the very next day, bam, she was here. She just got there overnight. That was kind of freaky in itself. I said, I'll meet you at the Whataburger in town. She come walking up, and she had that big black curly wig on, and it was, down over her eyes, and, it was just out of place. And she had a scar on her face.
David Trempis told police that Mia Stone claims she got the scar when her ex-husband tried to run her over. And now she wanted to move to Texas and marry Trempis.
But she wanted to move in with me. That's why she was up here. And I just kind of played it cool and said, it was great to meet you. And then, I got the hell out of there. It's time to go.
About a week later, Jolene Cummings goes missing. Not long after, Trempis says he got a call from the sheriff's office in Florida asking if he knew a woman named Mia Stone.
She also goes by the name, there's like 18 names, Mia Stone, Jennifer Seibert. Her true name is Kimberly Kessler.
That girl's name's really Kim Kessler?
Yes, sir.
She never let on to that. Her real name was Kim Kessler.
So investigators are left to wonder, had Jolene figured out Kessler's grand deception?
No one had any idea how truly evil she was.
And had Kessler retaliated by doing the unthinkable? When Jennifer Seibert first arrived in Fernandina Beach in 2018, no one had a clue about her trail of chaos and red flags over the years.
Let me tell you what, Jolene was very inquisitive, very intuitive, and when she said someone's fake, it's like, you're putting on an act, or you're not who you say you are.
So was Jolene on the verge of discovering the real story about the woman now known as Kimberly Kessler?
I believe 100% that Jolene was going to check to see who she was.
Investigators uncovered text messages Jolene had sent about the new employee, suggesting there was something off about her that she couldn't quite put her finger on. Did you get a vibe between the two of them when she was in the salon?
Yeah, Kimberly was kind of standoffish, and there was definitely some tension between them.
Well, the theory is that Jolene Cummings was dangerously close to discovering, number one, that Jennifer Seibert was not Jennifer Seibert, and number two, who she might really be.
Towards the end, it had gotten contentious to the point that they would yell at one another in front of clients. And there had been a fight in particular where the argument ended and Jolene looked at her client and said, "There's something going on with her. I'm gonna find out."
I think that pushed Kim Kessler, Jennifer Seibert over the edge.
Just stand up and bend over a little bit for me.
With Kessler in custody, detectives began searching her phone.
Her phone was definitely an insight into where her mind was, leading up to the moment that Jolene went missing. Jolene goes missing on May 12th. We see Kimberly Kessler's search history starts to shift from recipes and stores and the normal things to how long does it take for a body to decay? How to hide the evidence of a crime.
It was very weird what she was searching. You know, no body, no crime. How to dismember a body.
No one had any idea how truly evil she was, how truly unhinged that she was.
We're here in the alley behind Tangle's Hair Salon, or what used to be Tangle's Hair Salon. This was the back door to the salon.
And it's in that alley where detectives find another huge clue.
We have video surveillance from two different sources, and the dumpster behind us is visible in several of those videos.
The surveillance video shows Kimberly Kessler taking numerous large trash bags that are pretty full and pretty heavy based on the way that she's got to swing them into the dumpster behind the salon.
Our duties were not to carry out the trash, which was picked up Monday mornings. So it was unusual that after hours she would still be here.
Once detectives start piecing things together from inside of the Tangle salon and looking at the alley outside, they start to develop a theory that Jolene Cummings may have been dismembered and discarded in that very dumpster.
They processed the whole place, and there was so much blood there that nobody was going to survive that.
Investigators scan that surveillance tape hoping for more clues, and boy did they get one. They see Kessler driving by Tangle's as though she's checking to see if the dumpsters had been emptied.
We discovered that the local waste company had actually picked up the dumpster for disposal. And at this point, she no longer drove by.
Police learned that the contents were taken to a landfill in Georgia, about 25 miles away from Nassau County.
The FBI took the lead on actually searching the landfill.
The FBI Jacksonville team's been working around the clock in support.
This landfill is absolutely enormous. We knew it was going to be a needle in a haystack, but we knew we had to try to search and see what evidence, or if Jolene herself was in that dump. It was 117 degrees, so it was miserable, but it had to be done.
It was gut-wrenching. I mean, I was in tears to know that you could be thrown away like trash when you were an amazing person.
But after nearly a week of combing through the landfill in scorching temperatures every day with no positive results, law enforcement called off the search.
Sheriff Leifer, he didn't have to say anything. His face said it all. It was a face of disappointment, of grief that we didn't find her.
Inside, this had to just be your worst nightmare.
It's a nightmare that no parent, no one that has a loved one should ever have to endure. The not knowing was the worst.
Despite not having a body or finding the remains of Jolene Cummings, the state attorney's office decides they are going forward with charges of murder against Kimberly Kessler along with grand theft auto.
At the point that I'm coming into the case, I am focused on justice for Jolene.
With prosecutors now preparing to try Kimberly Kessler for first-degree murder, she's going to undergo yet another transformation.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
And with behavior like that, is she actually fit to stand trial for Jolene's murder?
Kimberly Kessler has been charged with the murder of Jolene Cummings. And while she's being held, let's just say she isn't exactly a model inmate.
So Jennifer Seibert was brought here, and she's booked and held in this area. What was she like as an inmate?
She was hateful, mean. She did not like us. She would do the craziest things. She actually ripped her smock off and completely got naked, started smearing feces all over herself, and it just went from there. She then decided it was a great idea to throw it at us, so we were in there dunking, diving, trying to get away from it.
At a point in time during her incarceration, she began a hunger strike, went from 170 pounds to down around 80 pounds.
But her bizarre behavior didn't stop there.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
At pretrial hearings, Kessler would disrupt the proceedings, yelling about her representation, yelling about her treatment in jail.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
Her contention was that one of her defense attorneys was cousins with Jolene Cummings.
Jordan Beard is Jolene's cousin.
But Judge James H. Daniel rules that this is false.
There was no relationship between Jordan Beard and Jolene Cummings or anyone in Jolene Cummings' family.
Kimberly Kessler now has to watch the proceedings on a video feed from jail. And because of all that seemingly unhinged behavior, she's declared mentally incompetent to stand trial.
We had the hearing to determine whether she was mentally competent to proceed to a trial. And we presented evidence to show that she was delusional, she was mentally ill.
Kimberly Kessler had a lot of strange tendencies, and prosecutors did not believe it. They felt that she was putting on an act in order to avoid having to face the charges against her.
But I actually went over there one day while she's not eating, and I wanted to talk to her, and I determined right then that she was putting on an act, trying to let everybody think she's crazy.
As time goes by, more hearings are held to make a determination as to whether Kimberly Kessler is competent to stand trial.
A judge is now weighing whether murder suspect Kimberly Kessler is mentally competent and whether she'll need to be force-fed.
At these hearings for competency, there was a psychiatrist who testified as to whether or not Kimberly Kessler could be a part of her defense and ultimately be competent to stand trial.
And you have found Ms. Kessler intelligent and strategic. Some of the things that she does are very intentional. What I mean is that her behavior is something that is thought out and organized.
Even Kessler's jailers were brought to the stand to say that they believed she was completely rational.
Was Ms. Kessler capable of communicating her thoughts and her needs to you? Yes, ma'am.
A high-profile murder suspect is competent to stand trial. That's according to doctors at a Florida hospital.
I felt like she was choosing to do this for whatever reason, and it was not the product of some mental health disorder.
Finally, after 3 long years, Jolene Cummings' family is in the courtroom. about to get their chance at justice.
Kimberly Kessler, a former co-worker of missing Nassau County mother Jolene Cummings, is charged with first-degree premeditated murder.
The trial was very much anticipated. Jolene's mother was very popular. She knew a lot of people, and a lot of people supported her. And it was a very tragic and traumatic situation for her. And the news covered it pretty relentlessly.
I refuse.
Just as this trial begins, it's almost immediate that Kimberly Kessler starts having her typical outbursts in the courtroom.
I refuse the public defender's office. They appointed Jordan Beard, Jolene Cummings' cousin, as my public defender. They appointed Jolene Cummings' cousin as my public defender. What, you don't want the public to know that?
She'll be downstairs as she's been through the proceedings thus far.
There are critical stages in a proceeding where the defendant has to be present. Trial would be certainly one of them. However, it's also my job to make sure that the state has the ability to prosecute a case.
The judge decides to excuse Kimberly Kessler from the proceedings, and now there's the opportunity for the state to actually get started with their opening statement.
The following evidence will establish premeditation beyond a reasonable doubt. Premeditation that the defendant planned Jolene Cummings' death. That as Jolene Cummings made plans for the next day of her life, the defendant had planned Jolene's death.
Prosecutors are about to present the heart of what they insist is a pre-planned murder case. Video of a shopping trip, and what Kessler is buying will chill you to the bone.
Live at the Nassau County Courthouse, Janice, Cummings' body was never found, but the state still plans to try and prove that case.
The prosecution begins laying out their case, and it relies heavily on circumstantial evidence and surveillance video.
CSU used luminol to find evidence of the defendant's cleanup of Jolene Cummings' blood. The luminol will glow blue to indicate the presence of blood. You will see the evidence of blood from the stylist chair mat nearest the reception desk, through the salon, to the restroom near the back door.
Prosecutors argue that after spending hours cleaning the bloody crime scene, Kimberly Kessler, known at the time as Jennifer Seibert, went to Walmart to buy a set of items that paint a truly macabre picture.
The Walmart video and receipt, which are evidence that at 8:57 p.m., the defendant used her credit card.
There is an overhead shot of Jennifer Seibert in this dark shirt, her hair pulled up into this bun. And what's most interesting is that you can see specifically what Jennifer Seibert is scanning. She's scanning a large bottle of ammonia. She's scanning rubber gloves. She's scanning a large box of outdoor style trash bags. And she's scanning an electric carving knife.
This is not Thanksgiving. What is she buying this knife for? And I'm like, oh my God, she dismembered her.
Prosecutors say that this evidence ties into what they found behind the Tangles salon.
What are we looking at here?
Jolene. Well, prosecutors believe it was because Jolene was on to Kessler's games. In fact, a Tangles employee took the stand with some telling testimony, what she heard on the day of the murder.
Do you remember Jolene Cummings telling the defendant, "You're fake"?
You fake, yes. I remember told her, you fake, go away. I don't like you.
Jennifer Seibert didn't want to be found out as Kimberly Kessler. That's what it appeared based on the timing of the comment that Jolene made and when this murder happens.
But the defense insists there is no evidence of premeditation in this case, and that's what's required for a first-degree murder conviction.
I certainly submit to you that is evidence of conflict, of violent conflict. But what the state cannot
offer you, but we have absolutely no proof of, are the questions that you need to decide this case. Who started it?
There's nothing to counter the theory that this had been a mutual combat, a fight. I mean, a physical fight between two women that ended up in one of the women dying. And that's just not first-degree murder.
The prosecution believed that they had, beyond a reasonable doubt, enough evidence to prove that this was first-degree murder.
We can see from her words, her internet searches, she had spent at least a couple of weeks somewhere premeditating the death of Jolene Cummings. From her internet searches, it's obvious that she intended to kill her. That's all the evidence you need to find the defendant's premeditation beyond a reasonable doubt.
With closing arguments done, Kimberly Kessler's fate rests in the hands of the jury.
Breaking at noon, the jury has been dismissed to begin deliberations in the murder trial of Kimberly Kessler.
It had been about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, and we got a call that said the jury's back with a verdict.
All right, everybody please have a seat. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdicts.
Sanford versus Kimberly Kessler, aka Jennifer Marie Stivers. Verdict count 1, first-degree murder. We, the jury, found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment.
I think Anne was relieved. It brought her some closure. It was an emotional moment.
It's been a long 3 years. We miss Jolene every second of the day.
Jolene's family feels they finally found justice, but with Kimberly Kessler's trail of deception and mayhem, police have a lingering question. Could there be more victims out there?
I believe she's running from something.
It's a tale of two women, Jolene Cummings, hairdresser and mom, who disappeared on Mother's Day, never to be found, and Kimberly Kessler, also a mom, who spent years crafting multiple identities and was convicted of murdering Jolene. Now, Kessler is about to be sentenced.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
And like so many times at trial, Kimberly Kessler disrupts the proceedings and is taken out of the courtroom. Before handing down his sentence, the judge hears a victim impact statement from Jolene's mom, Ann Johnson.
When my precious daughter was murdered, one of us died. I felt his struggle to create some sort of semblance of life ever since.
This court will adjudicate Kimberly Kessler, defendant, also known as Jennifer Marie Stivers, guilty, sentence her to life in prison.
She's also sentenced to 5 years for grand theft auto of Jolene's vehicle, which she'll serve concurrently.
Kimberly Kessler leaving the Nassau County Jail in this white van. A deputy was seen doing a rock-on hand gesture before her departure Friday morning.
We're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate her homegoing, because her new home for the rest of her life and until she takes her last breath is going to be Florida State Prison.
What was it like for all of you when she finally was transferred after her guilty verdict?
Oh my goodness. We were so happy that she was gone. She ended up getting shipped out to prison quite quickly afterwards. We did celebrate. We had a cake. There's a picture of us.
Are you relieved that this chapter's over?
Absolutely. I'd never want to have to deal with that woman again.
With all of the strange happenings that seem to surround Kimberly Kessler, there's this notion among some that is there some other unsolved case out there?
With the information that we obtain, the number of aliases, the number of cities, the number of states, I believe she's running from something.
That's going to be law enforcement's job, to follow up and to see if there were other people that could have been victimized by Kimberly Kessler. There could always be a new connection to something that wasn't seen before.
Remember Sergeant Jim Walters, who knew Kessler as Christina Brooke back in Virginia Beach? He recently handed over information about her to cold case investigators there.
I told the deputy chief the information that I had on Kimberly Kessler, and he said, I've got 4 or 5 unsolved homicides around that area, around that time. The cold case squad would be really interested in this information.
As investigators keep an eye out for other cases that could possibly be linked to Kessler, Jolene's mom, Ann Johnson, is focused on her daughter's memory. Will you continue to want to search for Jolene?
Oh, I'll always have the hope to search for Jolene.
Occasionally, we will get calls for unidentified remains. And anytime we get that kind of call, always have hopes that maybe it might be her.
What is the world missing not having her in it?
She was beautiful inside and out. And again, she was first and foremost a mom. And she was a great, great friend, great listener.
How do you want her to be remembered?
As the bright, shining star that she was.
Lord, guide us in these next few moments. In Jesus' name.
I had a private ceremony. It was a beautiful, small service.
Even with no remains to bury, Jolene's loved ones remember her to the tune of Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
There was music at the gravesite. There was a headstone. And then my grandson asked me, Emma, why is there a headstone when Mama's not there? I said, this marks that your mother lived here on earth, that she needs to be remembered. And who knows, God's will, maybe we'll have something to put there. It's the only thing we have to live for, right? It's the hope. Without hope, what do